pop in. Come here, how are you? There's a wee story there I wanted to see. Came in the news feeds there.
I'm flying, son.
You're flying. Where are you flying to?
I'm flying in form.
Give us a song now that says flying in it. I know. I'm flying. Let's see, too obvious. Give us another one. Go on.
What?
What do you mean what?
Flying the wings of a dove.
Here, I've seen this in the news, right? This is the stuff that comes in to me at 17 minutes to 9 o'clock. Didn't get it. Irish people bought 2,000 pairs of socks every hour, 1,000 vests and t-shirts hourly, and 5,000 bras a day and pennies this year.
Well, I can't take any credit for the bras,
right?
Or the vests.
What about t-shirts?
I don't wear vests.
No, it's a vest.
I don't understand vests.
You know when I see vests,
Ramsey,
right? Nesbitt, that's what comes to mind, doesn't it?
I can't stand in front of a mirror.
You think Donald would wear a vest? Wear a vest. Oh, he's not there. No. He's not even there yet. Oh, there
vests show up through my shirts as well too. I don't know what.
But they're kind of back in vogue again. That Paul Mescal, he wears a few old vesty things, doesn't he?
Big difference between me and Paul Mescal. You know,
Gladiator, the muscles.
I'm Flabbiator.
Come here. What about this? This swim? Not the swim. This thing we're going to be doing. This
what thing?
Walk on the beach, New Year's Day.
Yeah.
We need to sort something
we'll sort
out.
Something out.
You're gonna wear your vest that day.
Thermals. Do you wear vests only? Wanting to know?
Do you wear like a Ramsey Nesbitt vest?
No. I wear t-shirts.
T-shirts.
He's t-shirt. Yeah.
I think so. Who wears the vest?
But why
who's buying all the vests?
I don't know who's buying all the vests. But listen to me. When's the right time to wear a vest?
Well, it's obviously an undergarment, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
You know, so anyway, it's irrelevant. I have no idea why people wear vests or the purpose of them.
Right, but they're selling them.
Of course they are.
Penny's best. Yeah. There you go.
Socks. That's a lot of socks, dude.
That is.
That's a lot.
I stuck to yours, the one colour.
All the
There's
one
a few ones
colour.
creeping in there, different colours, but I say, Greg says keep them all black, keep the thinking out of it.
I've got
easy paired
white
up and everything.
and black.
Yeah.
And grey. No other colours, all the same. Mix and match.
No green or red or pinky ones, nothing? No?
Not really. I have a couple of ones for suits, but that's about
That's okay. All right, can we have a good show?
Lee, look after yourself, will you, sunshine?
I'll do my very best.
All right, take care of yourself. It's 9 o'clock. We've a lovely, busy 9 till noon show coming up for you after we get the news headlines now from Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Dáil has been told that promised improvements at St Eunan's College in Letterkenny need to be expedited as the situation there is totally unacceptable at present. Deputy Padraig McLaughlin raised the school as a topical issue in the Dáil last night, telling Junior Minister Frank Feehan that the building is over 115 years old, has 8 toilet cubicles for almost 1,000 students, and last received meaningful improvement works in the 1970s, almost 50 years ago. Deputy McLaughlin told the Dáil that despite the conditions, the quality of education and the commitment of staff and students is second to none.
It is absolutely essential for any minister, and I would be appealing to Minister Naughton now to come up as soon as possible to Donegal and do a full tour of St Eunan's College, because it is utterly unacceptable. This is an outstanding school with an outstanding educational culture. I don't know how they do it, but the teachers and the students together deliver a standard of education that is superb, despite the absolutely unacceptable conditions they operate in.
Gardaí in Donegal received a report of a single vehicle crash at Mullindrate, Stranorlar this morning. It happened shortly before 7:45. 3 people were brought by ambulance to Letterkenny University Hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries. Gardaí say the road is open but expect some traffic delays. The national clean-up is underway after Storm Bram, with Donegal escaping relatively unscathed. Strong winds continue to sweep northwards across the country overnight, but calmer conditions have returned this morning with all weather alerts now expired. There had been an orange weather warning in place in Donegal. No major issues have been reported. The ESB's Power Check service shows 2 outages in the county. One in Moville was reported just after 7 this morning. There are 107 customers affected, with 7 o'clock this evening the estimated restoration time. The other outage, first reported last evening, involves 56 homes, farms and businesses in Stranorlar. It's anticipated they should have their power restored by 1 o'clock this afternoon. Letterkenny is one of 5 new towns included in the Living City initiative, which is intended to tackle dereliction in major cities and towns. Cork, Dublin and other cities already are included. Today, Letterkenny, Sligo, Athlone, Drogheda and Dundalk are being added. Taoiseach and Finance Minister Simon Harris says the government wants to progress this as quickly as possible.
I intend to ensure that we write to the local authorities this week. We ask them to return their draft maps by the end of January, and I'd expect for the mapping process to be completed by the end of Q1, with applications to be open by June at the latest.
And Gardaí are looking for feedback from the public on body cams. They're already being used on a pilot basis in a number of stations. With more, here's Emily Keegan.
The video and audio recording devices that are attached to a Garda's clothing have been trialled at 5 stations in Dublin, Limerick and Waterford since last year. As the force looks to roll them out nationally, it's launched a public consultation on a code of practice for body-worn cameras. Garda bosses say it will provide more detail on the general operation of BWCs. They say the code of practice also aims to ensure the devices are used as a tool to protect the rights of the public and officers and to gather evidence which contributes to the prevention and effective investigation of crime. The public consultation will run until the 13th of January.
Weather forecast: early morning showers will become confined to northern parts of the region by around midday. It'll give way to sunny spells and mostly dry conditions for the rest of the day. Breezy with top temperatures of 8 to 11 degrees Celsius in fresh southwesterly winds, stronger near Atlantic coasts. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
Hey, looking for car insurance that's simple, fast and comes with a little extra? That's RedClick. Right now, when you quote and buy online, we'll give you a €40 retail voucher to treat yourself to something special. For insurance that's easy, insurance that's quick, visit redclick.ie. Offer applies to new private car policies purchased until 28th of February 2026. Acceptance criteria, T's and C's apply. Generali España de Seguros y Reasegurs SA, trading as RedClick and Generali, is authorised by the General Directorate of Insurance and Pension Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for consumer protection rules.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to Wednesday's 9 till noon show. It's 5 minutes past 9 on the 10th of December 2025. How are you all keeping today? I hope you're very well indeed. And we got through it all right, didn't we? I know a lot of people peed off potentially that Storm Bram, or Breezy Bram as I came to call him last night, didn't really bare his teeth in Donegal. That's not to say there wasn't some disruption, but it was minimal. And I think a lot of people waking up this morning going, well, that was just a regular evening in Donegal. But down the country, at one point there were 54,000 people without electricity. I know a tree fell on a car down the country too. Thankfully no one was injured, but it seems by the time Bram got here, either he'd run his race or it didn't really hit us as had been predicted. So as I say, a lot was cancelled, a lot didn't go ahead, a lot of people stayed at home, but listen, isn't it better to be safe than is sorry? I just wonder sometimes if we're going to get things wrong like that, does that mean, and do we agree we got it wrong? When I say we, I mean Matt Aaron, by the way. We can only, and we have a responsibility to, we can't ignore orange warnings if they're put out there, right? We just simply can't do that. God forbid if it turned out to be worse, or if someone was injured, ignoring that advice. You know, I think you're very clever people. I think you understand. But I just wonder if we need to look at it going forward, just because there was an awful lot of disruption last night. A lot of people had plans. A lot of stuff that normally would go ahead didn't go ahead. Maybe that's on the wider scale of things. Are we saying, well, thankfully, we took precautions and everyone's safe? Or is it that, right, okay, well, this is a bit of a problem. It's been quite impactful and disrupted people's lives for little or no reason. Or maybe you thought it was an orange weather warning. Let me know. 086 60 25,000. There's a bit more about that in the papers, which we begin with today on the Finn Valley Voice. They work all weathers. They work alone, operating dangerous machinery and handling hazardous chemicals. They risk their lives on a daily basis. Our farmers are in the front line and they're getting older. Now the Health and Safety Authority has begun a week-long farm inspection campaign running until Friday. As well as the dangers from machinery and chemicals, farmers also face a higher risk of work-related illness, including heart disease, stroke, overweight, obesity, back pain, stress, mental health issues, lung issues, hearing loss, skin problems and cancer. Those difficulties are becoming acute due to the rising age profile of the farming community. On to the Irish Independent now, and there's so much strange about this whole thing, but anyway, the sharing of a video offering advice to young people moving back into the family home by the Department of Housing was misconceived, Housing Minister James Brown has said. So the Department of Housing is, setting targets to build 300,000 houses over 5 years. They're charged with, I think, providing houses for those that needed affordable housing, not for giving you tips as to what to do if you can't get on that ladder. Speaking before, An official at the department reposted the video, which has since been widely pillared by the opposition. All right, here, have a quick listen to some of this.
Moving back in with family after living out of home can take some time to get used to.
Here are some steps that you can take to make the transition easier for you and your family. Sharing a home with family members as an adult is very different to doing so as a child. During your time apart, you've probably all grown as people and developed different living needs and expectations. Talking openly with your family about everyone's expectations when you first move back home can help prevent any conflict later on. Take the time to set up some house rules, such as paying rent and doing housework.
Communicate with your family. Moving back home might be enjoyable at first, but over time it's possible you might have some conflicts. This is completely normal. If this happens, it's important to discuss the issue with your family as soon as possible and work towards resolving it together.
Help out around the house. It can be easy to revert to your former roles if you move back in with family. However, agreeing to take on some household chores is beneficial for everyone involved. Not only will it lighten the workload for your family, but it will also help you feel more independent and encourage them to see and treat you as an adult.
Yeah, so on it goes. That was reshared by the Department of Housing. This is tips on what to do moving back in with your parents. I'll let that run out. I can't listen to much more of it. Describing it as tone deaf, this was Mr. Hearn from the Social Democrats. He said there was huge frustration among younger people over the video. Mr. Brown said, all my focus is on finding homes for those young people at home, while I hear constantly that what I am doing is being knocked. I am not hearing any solutions. So did you see that video? What do you think maybe? Do you think it is appropriate advice? On to the Irish Times now, and let me see what their principal story is. Yep. Where is it here? I had suggested... Yeah, I'm very interested in your views in relation to this. Right, so I've talked about in the past on this programme about how, you know, the greatest resistance to steps to protect children on the internet may well come from adults who want to do what they want to do, protect their anonymity, whatever it might be. You know, so it's not going to be from children necessarily. It's not necessarily going to be from the government. The greatest resistance to further controls on the use of the internet may well come from adults, and it might not be just for the reasons I mentioned. What is going to happen in this country, make no mistake about it, age classification for websites. They say it's being considered, but I can tell you right now it's going to happen. So legally binding age classification for websites and apps similar to age ratings that exist for film and television shows could be introduced under reform proposed by a government task force. It's understood that the Department of Health's Online Safety Task Force, which was set up to consider the public health risk the internet can pose to children, will also recommend that board members and executives of tech companies should be held liable for dangerous content on their platforms that poses a risk to children. That part of it is a waste of time. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. A lot of them aren't even based here. They don't care what the government says. But this happened in England, whereby you had to prove your age to visit websites for over 18s, and there was a dramatic fall off in those visiting some of the most popular adult websites. So earlier this week, the Irish Times reported that the government expects pressure from foreign direct investment firms over any move to strengthen liability for senior tech executives. So we'll park that. The coalition has already received legal advice on strengthening laws that make senior executives liable for incompetence or non-compliance with online safety measures. But the Online Safety Task Force, which was chaired by children's rights advocate Gillian von Turnerhout, was set up in September 2024 in recognition of the harm that social media was doing to Irish children's physical and mental health. Its final report, which was completed last September of this year, is expected to be officially launched later this week. So it's going to recommend that you have to prove your age to go onto certain websites. So what do you think about that? As I say, it happened in Britain. It's inevitable to happen here. They are also given strong consideration to the Australian model, whereby anyone under 16 has no access to social media sites. Now, there are workarounds, VPNs, etc., but the reality is the overwhelming majority of people don't use or employ VPNs, I don't think. So what do you think about that? Having to prove your age, prove your identity to visit sites designed for 18-year-olds? That's question A. And B, banning all 16 and under from social media, your TikToks, your Snapchats, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, etc. What do you think of either of both of those proposals? 086 60 25,000. The Irish Daily Mail, interestingly, has a lead story. When we talk about how, we have the conversations first here in Highland Radio, we don't just say that. We've been talking about blister packs this week and the imposition it will be on some people that avail of them, because things are changing in January. And it's the lead of the Irish Daily Mail today, a couple of days after we covered it. Elderly and vulnerable patients suffering from illnesses such as dementia are facing new monthly fees of up to €50 for drugs in blister packs. Health Minister Jennifer Carr McNeill has told the Dáil that the government will not intervene in the introduction of new fees for blister packs at pharmacies set to come in from January 1st. One patient advocate described the move as penny-wise, pound foolish, and elderly care supporters said some older people will have to choose between the dispensation fees and paying their bills, a scheme which pharmacists had used for 30 years to reclaim the dispensation fees from government will no longer apply from the new year. Ms Carol McNeill said the state had never agreed to pay for the service and that the charges are now a matter for pharmacies. And we heard from Tom Murray of the Irish Pharmacies Union. Their position on it is that this is not a new charge, it's just a change of services, etc. But if you have any concerns about blister packs and their costs, and if you avail of them, please, the best thing you can do is obviously pass on any comments you have in relation to us, but to contact your local pharmacist so you know precisely what impact it might have on you. In the Irish Daily Star today, a judge quite literally hit the mute button on Enoch Burke as he went on an online rant, as it's described, from Mountjoy Jail after watching members of his family being physically carted out of court. The scenes unfolded as High Court Justice Brian Cregan threw out a series of claims that there were errors made in an earlier judgment jailing the former teacher over his repeated trespass on Wilson's Hospital School in Westmeath. Members of Burke's family, mother Martina and siblings Amy and Isaac, were physically removed by Gardaí yesterday when the judge said they could not be presented due to repeated disruptive behaviour at past hearings. The trio had arrived earlier and sat in the front bench, usually reserved for senior barristers, while Burke appeared online from Mountjoy in what appeared to be a boardroom with a long table. Isaac was pulled out of the seat first by a Garda and then lifted bodily with one Garda holding his legs and the other under his arms. Martina and Amy stayed sitting, and despite repeated requests by a Garda sergeant to leave, they refused and repeatedly said that they'd a constitutional right to be in the courtroom. But anyway, eventually they went out on their own 2 feet with assistance. Enoch Burke's contentions were chucked out. The judge said, listen, when I used words like stalking, this was the context I used it in. And again, he said that he was a prisoner of his own beliefs. I'll read the quote. The idea he's in prison because of his religious belief is nonsense, and the court does not imprison people for their religious beliefs. He is in prison for trespassing, no more, no less. And he's going to stay in prison until such time as he purges that contempt, according to the judge. On to the Irish Daily Mirror now, and Donald Trump has blasted Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky, saying he must get his act together and start accepting things if progress is to be made in ending the war. The US president claimed Russia holds the upper hand in attempts to negotiate a peace deal and accused Ukraine's European backers of talking too much and failing to deliver the support Kyiv needs 4 years into the war. Mr. Trump has centred himself within a renewed diplomatic push, but his 28-point peace plan has failed to win agreement from either side. And he was really quite critical too of Europe and its future. Let's listen to some of what he had to say in this interview yesterday.
Well, Europe is a different place.
What do you mean
by
by that?
And if it keeps going the way it's going, Europe will not be, in my opinion, many of those countries will not be viable countries any longer. Their immigration policy is a disaster. What they're doing with immigration is a disaster. We had a disaster coming, but I was able to stop it. You know, we have no people coming through our borders now, 0, 7 months. I mean, who would believe zero? We went from millions of people, in some cases millions of people a month, but millions of people to no people.
That's not what Europe looks like.
The opposite, yeah. I know Europe, they're coming in from all parts of the world, not just the Middle East. They're coming in from the Congo, tremendous numbers of people coming from the Congo.
And he went on to say effectively that because the populations are changing so much in Europe, whether you believe this or not, that they're going to be hard to deal with or to have as allies, because he claimed that ideologically the countries were actually changing to the point where they could no longer be allies with the United States. And finally, tens of thousands of homes were without power last night as Storm Bram put the frighteners up the country, triggering floods and travel chaos. Dozens of flights and ferry services were cancelled and rail services suspended, while large swathes of the nation were placed under a status orange weather warning as 160 kilometre per hour winds hit. But as I said, and as we felt, we didn't get it too bad up here, which I suppose is a good thing. 086 60 25,000 if you wish to comment on anything you've heard there. You can also give us a call if you wish on 07491 25,000. And just a reminder, you can watch this show in its entirety every day, and the majority of guests that join us. And how do you do so? Well, you log on to YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. That means you can watch it on your mobile devices, your laptop, your smart TV or your Fire Stick. You can also watch us across our Facebook pages and on the X platform. It's all really under Highland Radio or close variations of same.
Newspapers are kindly supplied by Cosgrove Centra, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Now with the new look Mountaintop Diner.
Fill your stocking this Christmas from all the great gift ideas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show. See mcgees.ie or like McGee's on Facebook for a chance to win some great prizes.
Paddy McGurn Machinery Sales Ballyshannon. Stockists of Coon Farm machinery, including balers, mowers, tellers and more. We also stock SIP rakes and tellers, Connor slurry equipment, Fleming equipment, Marigon mowers and Agrimaster mulchers, serving Donegal, Sligo and Leitrim. Call 086 329 8417 for expert advice and great deals. Paddy McGurl, quality machinery, ready when you are.
Who's making something wonderful at Lidl this year?
Hi, I'm David Brett from Oak Park. We pride ourselves on supplying award-winning hams to Lidl each Christmas. We select Bord Bia quality assured Irish pork. We naturally smoke them using beechwood chips.
Oak Park's Bord Bia approved ham joints from $9.99. Lidl, more to value.
The fastest and easiest way to apply or renew a passport for you or your child is online. But if you find applying online challenging, the Passport Assist Service is here to help. For one-to-one support, call the Passport Assist Service on 01 613 1795.
Hi, Marty Morrissey here. I'm delighted to tell you that the Marty Party is returning to Calpe in Spain next year from October 1st to October 8th. Johnny Logan will be joined by fellow Eurovision winners Niamh Kavanagh, Paul Harrington and Linda Martin. Also with us will be Sean Kane, the Whistling Donkeys, Honor and the wonderful Tommy Fleming. Book now on email by contacting Deirdre at CollesterTravel.com or phone her at 085 753 9038. The Marty Party, your ideal Christmas present.
TFI Local Link operates evening and weekend services throughout rural Ireland to help you stay connected 7 days a week. We know life doesn't just happen 9 to 5, so if you're commuting, shopping, visiting family, or going out in the evenings or on the weekends, let TFI Local Link take you there. Visit transportforireland.ie.
Christmas just got even bigger at Highland Radio. Not only could you win a brand new Renault Symbioz Techno worth over €35,000, but from December 8th to 19th, we're giving away a grand a day. If you've already bought your ticket, you're automatically in. If you haven't, now's the time to get your tickets at highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
The time now is 9:22. Sinn Féin's Chief Whip Pádraig McLaughlin has called for an urgent Dáil debate on the findings of the legacy investigations and reviews published this week as part of the Canova final report. Deputy McLaughlin joins us now. Thanks for your time. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
For those who may not be aware, talk to me about the Canova report.
Well, the Canova report that was published yesterday is the final report into the British agent within the IRA, who wasn't named yesterday, but is widely known to be Freddie Scappaticci. And I mean, obviously, your first thoughts go to the victims of Freddie Scappaticci. But what was revealed was that MI5 actually had handled him. So this is the highest level of the British state. They had obviously spirited him away in 2003, and he lived with a new identity for over 20 years. They'd purchased a home for him, covered his pension. We also know that more people died. He cost more lives than he saved. And the other thing that emerges from the report is that MI5 just repeatedly refused to cooperate. And the reason why you have a final report now is that whenever the original report was published, it was discovered that there was a range of documentation that was missing. MI5 had not provided until after Freddie Scappaticci had died. So there are serious questions for the British state. Also, yesterday we had Operation Denton. So that deals with what we know to be the Glenanne gang, which was a gang of basically British state operatives and loyalists. So you had, it's estimated as high as 25 UDR, which were British soldiers, RUC and Ulster Volunteer Force operators. They operated throughout the 1970s, and they were responsible for the deaths of around 120 people. So they were mass murderers with the British state, intimately involved. Just the latest evidence that we've had. I mean, you'll be very familiar, Greg, with what was known as Operation Greenwich. That dealt with, for example, the assassination of Eddie Fullerton, Councillor Bernard O'Hagan, the Grey Steel massacre, and the person at the heart of that is known as Person K. His identity is known to the families. That person was a mass murderer and obviously a British military agent operating for a long period of time, targeting Republicans and then eventually just slaughtering innocent civilians. So that's the pattern. And sorry, the final point is this, Greg, is that, obviously I'm an Irish Republican. Irish Republicans inflicted great pain on others during the conflict, and I'll never deny that. And, I have a deep sorrow for the conflict over the years. But the British state have never, ever accepted responsibility. This is the missing element. I mean, the IRA have accepted, in fairness to loyalist paramilitaries, have accepted their role. But the British state has never owned up to its central role in basically pulling the strings of paramilitaries and indeed their own operators over years to basically try to beat down the Irish Republican community.
I don't want to sound insensitive, but they probably never will either. At what point do we draw a line under this and move forward, as horrendous to some as that might sound?
I think that's the problem is that if you're families of loved ones and you hear a British minister talking about legacy legislation and so on, I mean, you can't trust them because they haven't been open. Like, why can't the British state just say, yes, our British military agents were at the heart of loyalist paramilitaries, worked hand in hand with them. We got the weapons for them. We provided the intelligence for them. We actually had our own agents in their gangs. Like, there was hardly a serious loyalist paramilitary operator that wasn't either an RUC
is it not the
agent or a
case
British
too,
military
though, and
agent.
this doesn't excuse the British, is it not a case too that our copybook isn't necessarily fully clean? That, we have either withheld information or been uncooperative in the search for answers, with investigations into major atrocities also. So before we call the British government out, and that sounds ridiculous, we should always be calling them out of this wrongdoing, but we need to fully get our own house in order too. And, whatever information we have, whatever details we have, whatever we might be able to contribute to help inquiries or inquests or whatever, that should be forthcoming. It shouldn't be dragged out of us kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I think one of the deeply regrettable parts of the peace process was in South Africa, you had a full truth and reconciliation process. You had a truth process where families could be very clear about why their loved ones were killed and how. And that never happened in our peace process. So it's very piecemeal. But the huge missing element is, and in fairness to, and I have to acknowledge this, all of these various investigations and reports, a lot of them are carried out by ordinary policemen from England, Scotland, Wales. And this goes back to John Stalker, the famous case of the chief constable who came over from England. He was absolutely shocked at what he found, and the British establishment went after him and took him out. And then you had the Stevens inquiries. There's always been blockages to the truth. But I have to say, if you look at Operation Greenwich, that deals with the Graysdale massacre, the targeting of Sinn Féin councillors and Republicans from 1989 to 1993. Operation Achilles dealt with the Lower Orme Road massacre. There was 11 killed there, RUC agents in the middle of it all. If you go through all of these reports, so if you were to summarize the whole lot, what's clear is for decades, British state operatives, clearly, backing from 10 Downing Street, sourced the weapons, sourced the arms, trained them, provided the intelligence, and we're in the middle of the war. So this wasn't a war, to summarize, between Republicans and Loyalists or Protestants and Catholics, as has been presented by the British state and their media. This was a war being executed by the British state against Irish Republicans and Nationalists who were seeking their equality, their dignity, and eventually their independence.
Okay,
and that's absolutely overwhelming. But the British state have never, ever accepted that.
Yeah, and as you've laid it out there, that there's clear evidence pointing to that. But I suppose the British government feel that they can just ride it out. There's not a huge pressure on them internally, to put their hands up and admit this. They can just ride it out because, very sadly, we're talking about the passage of time, and we've spoken to many amazing campaigners over the years, and many of them are no longer with us. And we all have an expiry date, if it could be so crude, in relation to that. So they're just going to ride it out, aren't they? I mean, do you believe there is anything can be done by the Irish Parliament, if I could refer it to like that, to actually maybe, encourage the British to be more open and transparent in this? Or as too much time passed, it's too messy, and as I say, they can just sit this out?
Yeah, well, the problem for the British state is the evidence is overwhelming. So any objective person internationally looking at this can clearly see that they were central to it. The problem we have moving forward, of course, is the right. They have been denying people to proper.
Unfortunately, your sound has gone off there. I'm not sure if it's just a quirk. There's nothing you've changed. It hasn't gone off. Go ahead.
Yeah, apologies,
yeah, no, that's
Greg,
fine. Yeah.
Is that okay? Yeah, and no. The issue is that the Irish government are dealing with the British government. It's a Labour Party government over there at the moment. They say that they want to not proceed with the Tory agenda, which, as you know, was to deny justice for families. It was to protect British soldiers. Now, just for your listeners' benefit, and this is an absolutely astonishing statistic I'm about to give you, but it's an absolute fact. If you look at the Irish Republicans, it's estimated about 15,000 Irish Republicans were imprisoned during the conflict. 15,000, huge number. Just one of those 15,000, just one, I could give an example of, served 23 years in jail. That one person served more time in jail than all of the British soldiers combined. So the total time in jail served by British soldiers during the conflict was less than this one Irish Republican. So that's the reality of British justice. And it's not even, you see, I don't have any issue with English people, Greg. I really don't. I don't go around, I like everybody else, I'm interested in their football teams, their music. I watch their TV shows. I holiday in England, Scotland, Wales. I haven't a hateful bone in my body. All I'm looking for is for the British government to put their hands up and say, yes, we were a central part of the conflict. Yes, our agents were involved in mass murder, mass assassination, and we want to get the truth for families. And we're not going to use MI5 to block cooperation, to hold back files, to resist, and then to protect British soldiers and not have them accountable. So it's just, that's the missing part. I mean, Irish Republicans have tried to, bring truth and answers to families. all the different players. The missing element is the British state.
Yeah, okay, we shall see. Thanks very much for that. That's Deputy Padraig McLaughlin, who is the Sinn Féin party's chief whip. Any views in relation to that? Do you think the British will ever accept the findings of many of these reports, which quite clearly indicate what Deputy Padraig McLaughlin was just outlining there? So it's these reports are independent reports. They're out there, right? That's what they're saying. Personally, for me, I don't anticipate that they might, but I suppose if you get a debate going in the Dáil and a position from the Dáil comes forward, that can be quite impactful in sending a message as well. As I say, any comments to 086 60 25,000. Good morning, Greg. It's an Irish thing thinking us men are hardy when we reach the teens. I work with some beautiful East European men and friends with them. Ask them why they wear vests. It's the done thing. Tell Lee and these fellas are handsome hunks, lol. That comes in from Rosie. They might have the physique, Rosie. It's just, well, though Lee's in great shape. I can see Lee in a vest. I don't want to, but I can see him in a vest. But yeah, maybe it's cultural. I don't know. But we sell a lot of vests here. On the issue of homes, the rule the government are introducing in March will see small landlords selling up and the number of homeless doubling. Meanwhile, big landlords, investment companies, will buy up more houses and apartments and keep increasing rents. We need a state-building company like we had in the 1930s to the 70s instead of relying on private companies whose only interest is profit. Yeah, we have seen a exodus, a huge peak in small landlords. That's landlords with 3 or less properties selling up. So, on the issue of social media, won't someone think of the children, they say, as they implement draconian spying on the populace? All this will do is make teens more tech-savvy and drive up VPN use, which they can't ban. Our economy is built on people using VPNs at the business level. This is not the government's job. This is the failure of parents in this country. What should be done is a massive public information campaign about how to implement proper internet safety for your children. I already do that. It takes 10 minutes out of your life to set up. Much easier and better than giving your ID to some third-party company to get hacked. They're against having to prove your ID to visit over 18 websites. To stop inappropriate use of media, games, etc., we need all these age restrictions plus parental monitoring. Children will find a way around it otherwise. There are children in Donegal regularly playing games 18 plus that normalise murder, violence, rape, sex, porn, drug taking, stealing, etc. Some parents are unaware of this and some are sadly. If the phone or game or tablet is in their bedroom, the parent will never know what their growing brains that are being phoned will be conditioned into knowing. The difference between virtual reality and in being absorbed in a game or film and the reality of life, especially if they're addicted or hooked. No wonder we've growing violence, drug taking and disorder in society. A mix of education on this issue, parents, parenting and government controls are necessary. But as the money rolls in from those who profit from this virtual reality entertainment, I do not think are unfit for government. Government will stand up to the challenge. See, the thing with social media, and it'll be very interesting, and I would love to get a view from Australia as to how this social media ban is being implemented. There is no doubt that if you did have such bans, some people would have VPNs. But VPNs are kind of complicated. Firstly, for them to be any good, really, you have to pay for them or else they're really, really slow. Secondly, they screw up your algorithms, right? Because you might say you're in France and you're getting a load of French videos. Or you might say you're in Mexico and you get a load of Mexican videos. You kind of need one VPN per device unless your parents let you go with the router, which they're probably not going to because then that cocks up their Netflix account, right? So it's not really complicated. So, if you have 100% of young people and 15% of them are using VPNs, that's not enough really for... because you don't want to be talking to yourself either or talking to a different population or people not seeing you. So I don't know. I don't think the VPN would be a broadly used workaround. It's complicated, it can be costly, and it can screw up to your recommendations and your ads and where you're getting information from and just make that whole social media experience not as enjoyable as it is. So I would feel personally that a ban on under 16s using social media would be effective, at least to some extent. as it relates to proving you're over 18 to use over 18 websites. That's a different kettle of fish altogether. All right, interesting. Thank you. And from the comments we're getting, they're quite detailed, so people are putting a lot of thought into it, which is great. Okay, back with more shortly.
Think outside the box with your photos this Christmas for canvas prints, Instablocks, mugs and photo books at mcgee's.ie. McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
I had problems with my knees for about 7-8 years. I think I'd give Kingsbridge 5 stars just because of the support and help that they gave me before and after the surgery. I was a public patient and the HSE reimbursed the cost.
Republic of Ireland residents can get rapid access to cross-border surgeries at Kingsbridge private hospitals in Belfast and Derry, with medical costs reimbursed by the HSE. Find out more at kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border. Kingsbridge, your fast track to 5-star care. Terms and conditions apply.
If you smell gas at home or on the street, don't ignore it. Open windows and doors. Don't smoke, vape, or use a naked flame. Don't unplug or switch anything electrical on or off. Turn off the gas at the meter. Then, no matter who your gas supplier is, call Gas Networks Ireland on 1800 20 50 50. Visit gasnetworks.ie to screenshot the safety steps, save them to your device, and share with friends and family.
Tesco Club Card gives you the power to more this Christmas. Get everyone together with any 3 for €6 on our finest breakfast range. With a choice on items like our Irish board via quality assured finest corn-fed eggs and finest sugar pit rashers or hand-tied Irish pork sausages. And don't forget our finest 100% freshly squeezed orange juice with bits. Helping feed your Christmas spirit. Shop in-store or online. Tesco. Every little helps. Available in most stores. Prices vary and express. DRS may apply.
Ready to upgrade your car? At Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town, we've got a great selection of makes and models to suit every budget. With flexible finance option and trade-ins welcome, upgrading has never been easier. Visit ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to see us at Shane Conley Cars, Drumlonagher, Donegal Town.
Hello, I'm David Foley, medical herbalist. Are you suffering with stress, anxiety, insomnia? Then ask for Irish Botanica Peace and Calm, a traditional herbal remedy. Irish Botanica Peace and Calm has a naturally relaxing effect, ideal for stress, insomnia, jet lag, and pre-exam anxiety. Call us a Natural Way, Letterkenny Shopping Centre for more information.
Brian McCormick here to let you know we're celebrating 30 years, supporting every match, mile and movement with you. We opened in 1995, so when you spend €30 or more, we'll give you a 1995 voucher to use off your next purchase. From sports footwear to your local football top, we've got everything to keep you moving, and this is our way of saying thank you. Here's to the next 30 years.
Right, you're very welcome back to the programme. You might remember us talking of the Living City Initiative. It was unveiled a few months ago for Dublin, Galway, Waterford and Cork. Well, the Tánaiste confirmed this week it's now being expanded to cover Athlone, Sligo, Drogheda, Dundalk and, of course, of more interest to us, Letterkenny. Right, Councillor Kieran Broken is the Mayor of Letterkenny Milford Municipal District. He joins us now. So I presume this is to be welcomed. What kind of an impact do you think it might have, Kieran?
I think it's very good news, Greg. It was part of the budget announcement back some time ago that Letterkenny was included in it as one of the growth centres in the northwest, and I think a lot of good work is happening at the moment under the whole urban regeneration development fund that's happening at the minute. And I suppose we have 46 properties at the moment under the Call 3 funding for the vacant properties. And I think this here is an added addition to that. It'll incentivise properties. It's a tax incentive for people to regenerate the properties, particularly around the retail and commercial developments of the town. For us as elected members, we haven't had any discussion around certain areas or mapping of the town that will be involved in that, and that is yet to come before us as elected members. But I suppose, first of all, you begin after the most, derelict parts of the town, and I suppose take this opportunity to commend our own team for the work they have done around the vacant property regeneration grants, because in Donegal, Greg, as you know, it's been on your show before, Donegal is the highest in the country now. In Donegal in total we have 1,478 grants processed so far. It's the highest in the country. 21 million has been paid out in grants in Donegal alone, and 390 properties have been brought back into use in Donegal. So, I mean, this is a huge incentive, and I suppose the problem we've had in certain parts of the town, we have to be honest about it, there has been derelict properties that have been lying far, far too long, and this is to create every opportunity to allow people to come back and to be living in the town centre again. I think it's a very, very good initiative, and I suppose the more incentives that we can create to make the town attractive for investment again, and there is plenty of opportunity, because we all know there's a huge gap in the whole area of accommodation at the minute in Letterkenny. And I suppose this again hopefully gives us a special status to make this area more attractive.
And I suppose towns go through transitions depending on what's happened over the decades. You know, there was often in towns a healthy mix of residential business. Then, you know, you get a period of time whereby it's predominantly business. Maybe the first floors fall into disrepair or what have you. And then as people's shopping habit change or a town spreads, then you sort of look to return back to that commercial sort of residential mix. This is that how you see it? That's how I see it, and this will help in doing so to help accelerate that that remix.
There's absolutely no doubt. A lot of different parts of Letterkenny have changed over the years, and then you have the newer town centre area, which has developed an awful lot over the last number of years. But I think this is about making the traditional town centre more attractive to live in, to work again, and to do business in that area. And I think having more people living in the old town centre, if you like, is something that we've been trying hard to do. And the fact that we have now 46 properties in the Call 3 programme at the minute under the vacant property refurbishment grant is very, very positive. And I suppose again through Highland Radio and the media, the more of a strong message that we get out there about the opportunity that's there to make it more attractive to invest in Letterkenny, the better.
How do people find out more info? Because it's slightly more complicated, I suppose, just with a first view than, say, for instance, the derelict properties grant. It covers residential properties built before 1975 in designated areas. So that could be a part of Letterkenny where there was no commercial interest in the premises, I presume. A new tax relief support converting over-the-shop spaces into homes. That's potentially the first four, that might have gone a little bit derelict on it. So you can refurbish or convert homes for owner-occupiers or rental properties, or upgrade commercial properties with accelerated tax allowances for refurbishment or conversion. So that means, if it's a commercial property, it could be you could avail of this to completely make that residential, or is it only parts of it? And secondly, the buildings, if it's just a residential building, it has to be before 1915. That's the way it was in other parts of the country. Is that the way it is here?
Yeah, there's a lot of information available on the Donegal County Council website. We had forums out in all the area offices throughout Donegal. In fairness to the regeneration team, they had different forums. There was one Letterkenny Public Service Centre just a number of weeks ago, and all the different grants available for the whole area of housing. But I mean, all the information is there on the Donegal County Council website of all the different grants and the different opportunities that are there. And I think, to be honest, the whole residential area is by far the priority, but I think there's also some commercial opportunities there as well, and it's about getting the mixture right. But I've never seen as much opportunity for people to avail of regeneration grants, and I think it's very important. But I think, to be fair, to acknowledge the team that's there, having 1,478 throughout the county, and it's 10% of the overall monies that's paid throughout the whole country, it shows that Donegal is stepping up to the mark, and I think our own team has to be commended, because they took those forums out to every small town and village throughout the county, and people are availing of it. And I think it's also a good opportunity for young couples starting off again too, Greg, to get onto the property ladder as well, where they can get derelict and vacant properties, and the grants are available to help them to refurbish that.
I've been a bit of a cheerleader for that scheme. I think it is the most cost-effective way the state has to deliver housing, and we're availing of it here in Donegal. And I think it actually could be enhanced. Stage payments, things like that, that could make it even more accessible. Because, as I say, the government will not deliver a house cheaper than it does through that scheme. And I'm sure the team in the council too will be doing further Living City Initiative meetings on this, because it's similar but it's different as well. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But for now, Councillor Kieran Brogan, thank you for your time. Back after these.
Hugo Boss, Tom Ford, Dior, Marc Jacobs and Carolina Herrera. Find all the biggest names in perfume and aftershave this Christmas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Come and enjoy the brand new menus at the Water's Edge Rathmullen. Now open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Treat yourself to the freshly prepared dishes made with the best local produce in our stunning waterfront setting. Booking advisable on 07498 91352 or via the Water's Edge Hotel Rathmullen on Facebook.
Celebrate this festive season with a meal to remember from Dunn Stores. Slice into our show-stopping succulent Irish beef sirloin with sizes starting from just $19.99. Mix and match any two for $5.50 on a range of delicious vegetable sides. And finish in style with our new creamy profiterole dessert for just €5. And better yet, you can save more with your 10.50 voucher. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunn Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop.
If I was cyberbullied, you put your arm around me, right?
If the videos on my feed tried to push me to extremes, would you intervene?
What if I was pressured into a dangerous challenge?
Or became bombarded with videos of self-harm?
Disordered eating?
Suicide?
Children and young people can encounter violence, bullying, explicit content and many other dangers online. Harmful content is never acceptable. Report it to the platform where you see it. Visit Commission the Mound at www.cnam.ie for more on how to report.
Mike Denver with guests Ray Lynham, Claudia Buckley and Jack Keogh in concert at Jackson's Hotel Ballybuffet on Thursday, February 5th. Tickets on sale now at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie. That's Mike Denver and guests in concert at Jackson's Hotel Ballybuffet on Thursday, February 5th. The perfect Christmas gift.
JD Recovery Services, your trusted name in the Northwest for vehicle breakdown or accident recovery and roadside assistance, day or night. Agents for all major insurance companies. On call for fast, reliable service wherever you need us. JD Recovery Services, call 91-39303.
McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles in Buncrana continues to be Donegal's go-to destination for stunning bathroom makeovers. With a vast selection of premium tiles and bathroom products, our showroom is your ultimate one-stop shop for crafting the perfect space. We've earned our reputation through expert advice, unbeatable prices and a dedication to customer satisfaction. Visit our showroom in Cockhill and Buncrana and see why we've been Donegal's top choice for 50 years and counting. Call us at 07493 63050.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Find Christmas inspiration for everyone, from top beauty gifts to perfect last minute ideas. Visit us in Ballybuffet to explore the full range or shop online anytime at mcelhinneys.com.
So early this morning we had heavy showers. Some was of hail as well. But they'll become confined to the more northern parts of our region by midday, giving way to sunny spells and mostly dry conditions for the rest of the day. A breezy day with highest temperatures of 8 to 11 degrees in fresh southwesterly winds, stronger of course near Atlantic coasts. Right, we can say good morning now to Independent Councillor Micheál Colm Magilla Eastbug. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you keeping?
Greg, how's it going? Jim, imagine why. My apologies for this. I'll take you off the loudspeaker because I'm just texting electricity about the lights down and door. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that.
It's just information I didn't
Sorry. Didn't expect that. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Right. Now, we are talking about dumping again, unfortunately. This time on the roadside in Duchary. Completely unnecessary as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, look, there's no area within the whole county that hasn't hit by illegal dumping somewhere, and I think there's a broader discussion that has to be had around this. And I think, that yes, it's wrong to illegally dump. It's not acceptable. But like I said, there's a broader discussion that has to be had, and I know that myself and yourself had it on a number of occasions in terms of the responsibility that we have as a council in terms of our bring back centres and the service that we provide or maybe don't provide. and how it's privatised and how it's not open 7 days a week like most other modern countries that provide recycling centres to the public, what you can recycle and what you can't, and the cost of it. So I think there's a broader discussion, and I know myself I've been trying to have this for a long time with council around maybe expanding that. So in our MD and Cloughalea is the only place that we have, instead of maybe other areas like Adore or Falcara or Naglanty or other areas. But unfortunately the council are looking at it. Look, there's the service, we've provided it, we've done our bit, that's it. And that's just not good enough, because why it's not good enough.
The thing is, though, looking at the rubbish you've dumped here, and I know where you're coming from, and we can always do with better services, right? I fully agree with you in relation to that. I don't think these people that were responsible for this would avail of them. They've dumped stuff that you can put in the bring back places. Whoever has dumped all of those tiles, you know yourself how much it costs to replace a roof, right? They've decided that they're not going to pay the 100 quid or whatever it might be to dump them tiles. And that could be off a job that cost them 12 or 13 grand like this. I don't think these people can be reasoned with better services. If you're capable of going up that road, Micheál Colm, and dumping it like that. But I'm not disputing your wider point. I just don't think, I think the only thing that would actually change these people's behaviour is actually to completely stick them in the pocket and put their names in the papers.
Well, look, I'm listening to what you're saying there, but we have to have some faith in humanity, and that people would. And I think we come from, not everybody, obviously not a tradition that it was nearly accepted that people would dump rubble and the likes of that on the side of the road, or maybe up a bog road, or to do a bit of a fill. I think that if the services like that we see maybe in other places, like maybe in France or in England or in Scotland, where the services are there and you come in with your van and the service is of no charge. Yeah,
like the old town dumps, really, you're talking.
People,
really.
Yeah, so when we know, sorry for cutting across you there, Greg. So when we now look to clean this up, that's going to cost us colossal money. So this last couple of weeks around that Doory area, and I want to give a massive shout out to the development committee there, Costa Ferb and the Doory, who have been absolutely doing unbelievable work. And a wee village, unfortunately, that has been neglected over many a year by the lack of proper investment. But anyway, the committee have fairly stood up and are doing great work, and I engage with them quite heavily. And as we have conversations around stuff like that there, but around the Doory area this last couple of weeks, this is the third time now that slates. And I know that in this particular one, there's cans and bottles and all that there. And you're right, you know, people should take more responsibility, and people, you know, maybe people just wouldn't. But I would hope that if the services were more available, that people would feel more responsible to do the right thing by their community.
Is there any indication where these bottles and cans were bought from? Are they Republic of Ireland recyclable cans?
Well, look, to be very honest with you, I did have a wee look at them, all right. Yeah. And they're not from the 26 counties.
Well, there you go.
And look, we look, without saying anything on air, the ones that have been dumping, yes, but without saying what I really want to say, but try to be a wee bit diplomatic about it. We have a fair idea who's involved in this, and you know, certainly I'll be following up on that. And it's unfortunate, because there is no need for this. There ain't no need for it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And this could easily have been done in a very, very different way.
Yeah.
And not everything's about, you know, saving that extra pound, but also recognising that we also must step up as well to provide more of a service and not to have it out privatised as well.
I know, I get you.
That would be my strong view on that.
I get you, and you know, I just can't imagine the majority of people listening to this programme would ever dream of doing that, because we talk about isolated incidents.
99.9 wouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, Micheál Colm, thank you very much for your
time. And
the
other thing is,
go ahead quickly, if you
the other thing is that we really need, if you can, is Like, we have our recycling centres, and yes, I prefer if that was direct labour working for the council, but a shout out to them lads who absolutely, if you landed down there with a lorry load of stuff or a Le Mans load of stuff, they absolutely cartwheels to help you.
Yeah.
And these centres should be open full time, and just a big shout out for them. And thanks for highlighting
I find
that,
those
Greg,
civic community
and your staff.
sites, the lads and ladies working on them are excellent people. Okay, thank you for that. We'll be back with much more after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, with all your perfume and aftershave presents this Christmas delivered to your door, or order online and collect in store. Visit mcgees.ie.
The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mazzell and Patrick Feeney are back on tour. This award-winning show is full of laughter, music and song. See The Three Amigos live. Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny, Monday, January 26th. Tickets priced $39.50, now on sale at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where extra charges may apply. The Three Amigos live. This show is not to be missed.
That magical time of year once more, with mince pies and pudding and treats galore, taking pride of place by the twinkling tree. All you need to know about the season's TV. A world of entertainment wrapped up inside. Christmas begins with the RTE Guide.
At ESB, we're committed to communities, and through our Energy for Generations Fund, we're helping organisations like Spree Agus Sport in County Donegal to provide access to STEM education opportunities for young people.
By giving everybody equal opportunities, regardless of their background, we bring the community together.
Every year in Ireland, we contribute over €2 million to community projects. Because it's not just for us, it's for future us. Learn more at esb.ie/communities.
At Super Value with real rewards, get 7-Up, Club and Pepsi 12-can packs 2 for €10. Get 2 Goodfellas pizzas plus 1 McCain chips and 1 Häagen-Dazs ice cream, all for €10. Save €8. Also get half price on Irish pork loin roast. Check your rewards app for vouchers and make it a Christmas with a difference at Super Value. DRS supplies.
Make Christmas special with your local Maple store. From something special to raise a glass with, to Christmas hampers, gifts, selection boxes and all your favourite festive treats. We've got it all at Maple. And here's a Christmas bonus. Spend over €30 in store until the 21st of December and you could win a 32-inch smart TV. One lucky winner per store. Terms and conditions apply. Pop in to your local Maple store to enter. Maple, always fresh, convenient, local and here to make your Christmas special.
McGowan Hearing, one of the longest established audiologists in the Northwest, now have weekly clinics in Letterkenny, Buncrana and Carndonagh. Book your free hearing aid consultation at one of these clinics or with audiologist Darren McGowan in your own home. Call 07191 00208 or visit mcgowanhearing.com.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning with your Highland Radio News at 10 o'clock. I'm Ryan Brawley. Deputy Padre McLaughlin has raised the issue of the need for improvements at St Eunan's Cathedral in Letterkenny in the Dáil. During a sitting last night, he told Junior Minister Frank Feehan that the building is over 115 years old, has 8 toilet cubicles for almost 1,000 students, last received improvement works in the 1970s, and that improvement works need to be expedited. Deputy McLaughlin added that despite the conditions, the quality of education and the commitment of the staff and students is second to none.
It is absolutely essential for any minister, and I would be appealing to Minister Naughton now to come up as soon as possible to Donegal and do a full tour of St Eunan's College, because it is utterly unacceptable. This is an outstanding school with an outstanding educational culture. I don't know how they do it, but the teachers and the students together deliver a standard of education that is superb, despite the absolutely unacceptable conditions they operate in.
Deputy McLaughlin protested that no minister from the Department of Education was in the Dáil for the discussion, saying he had passed a junior minister from the department in the Leinster House corridor just before the debate. Donegal has escaped Storm Bram relatively unscathed as a clean-up operation gets underway across the country. Calm conditions returned this morning following the strong winds which swept across the country overnight. There had been an orange weather warning in place in Donegal, but no major issues have been reported. The ESB's Power Check service shows 2 outages in the county. One in Maville was reported just after 7 o'clock this morning. There are 107 customers affected, with 7 o'clock this evening being the estimated restoration time. The other outage, first reported last evening, involves 56 homes, farms and businesses without power in Stranorlar. It's anticipated all should have their power restored by 1 o'clock this afternoon. Letterkenny is one of 5 new towns that will come under a scheme to tackle dereliction next year. The Taoiseach and Finance Minister announced that the Living City initiative will be enacted in Letterkenny, Sligo, Athlone, Drogheda and Dundalk, as well as Cork and Dublin. The scheme provides targeted tax incentives to encourage investment and bring vacant or underused buildings back into use. Mayor of Letterkenny Milford Municipal District, Kieran Brogan, gave his reaction to the news on today's 9 till noon show.
I think it's very good news, Greg. It was part of the budget announcement back some time ago that Letterkenny was included in as one of the growth centres in the northwest, and I think a lot of good work is happening at the moment under the whole urban regeneration development fund that's happening at the minute. I suppose we have 46 properties at the moment under the Call 3 funding for the vacant properties, and I think this year is an added addition to that. It will incentivise properties, tax incentive for people to regenerate the properties.
There may be some traffic delays this morning on the N15 after a single vehicle collision at Mullindrate, Stranorlar, before 7:45 this morning. 3 people were brought by ambulance to Letterkenny University Hospital for treatment of non-life-threatening injuries. Gardaí say the road is open, but delays are possible. Police have seized an uninsured vehicle and made 2 arrests for drug-related motoring offences in Sion Mills. This occurred yesterday shortly before 8:30 p.m. when officers on patrol were alerted to a car driving erratically. The female driver, aged 28, was arrested on suspicion of offences including driving while unfit through drink or drugs, possession of a Class B controlled drug and using a motor vehicle without insurance. She remains in custody. A female passenger, also aged 28, was arrested for offences including possession of a Class B controlled drug and obstructing police. She has been bailed to allow for further inquiries. A second passenger, a male, will be reported to the Public Prosecution Service in related to a drug offence. Inquiries are ongoing. Investigations are continuing after reports were made of water supply disruptions affecting Glackmore, Upper Ott and the surrounding areas. Crews are working to restore the supply as soon as possible. And for the weather, early morning heavy showers with chances of hail and isolated thunderstorms will become confined to northern parts of the region by around midday, giving way to sunny spells and mostly dry conditions for the rest of the day. A breezy day with highest temperatures of 8 to 11 degrees in fresh southwesterly winds, stronger near Atlantic coasts. That's all from the newsroom for now. We'll be back with headlines at 11 o'clock.
The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 10th of December. The death has taken place of James Doherty, Bascal Gleneely. James's remains will leave Eamon McLaughlin's funeral home, Station Road, Carndonagh, this morning at 11 o'clock to repose at Black, Carndonagh. Funeral from there on Friday morning at 10:15 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Bocken, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live on cooldaftparish.com. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. and on the morning of the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Irish Wheelchair Association, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Margaret McMonigal, née Quinn, Carrie Gawley, Letterkenny. Removal from Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny this afternoon at 3 o'clock, going to her late residence. The house is strictly private, please. Funeral from there on Friday morning at 10:15, going to St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Newleck Cemetery, Letterkenny. The death has taken place of Princhy Frank Logue, Glen Ho. Removal from Chapel of Rest, Mountain Top, Letterkenny at 2 o'clock this afternoon, going to his late residence. Funeral from there on Friday morning for 11 o'clock Mass in St John the Baptist Church, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 9 p.m. to 11 a.m. The death has taken place of Zizlo Bernat, 14 Beechwood Park, Letterkenny, formerly from Poland. Reposing at Letterkenny Funeral Home, Port Road, Letterkenny, tomorrow evening from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Cremation to follow at Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan. The death has taken place of Patrick Kennedy, 17, O'Nolan Park, Strabane. Remains leaving Quigley's Funeral Home today at 4 o'clock, going to the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane, arriving at 4:30 to repose overnight. Requiem Mass tomorrow at 12:30. Interment afterwards in Sacred Heart Cemetery, Derry Road, Strabane. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has taken place of John Boyce, Drumfin, Termon. John's remains are reposing at his late residence until 10 o'clock this evening. Funeral from there tomorrow morning to St Columba's Church, Termon, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Charlie Doherty, Carol Hughes, Greencastle. Funeral from his late residence tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Ballybrack, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to Musical Memories and Ardeven Dementia Unit, Carndonagh Community Hospital, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, Funeral Director. The death has taken place of Helen Mullen, née Graham, 2 Marion Park, Strabane. Funeral from her home tomorrow morning at 10:25 for Requiem Mass in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane, at 11 o'clock. Cremation afterwards in Lakelands Crematorium. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to the Foyle Hospice, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock tonight and before the funeral tomorrow. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Tina Duffy, née McGee, Cottage Farm, Newton Cunningham. Wake at her late residence today until 10 p.m. Funeral cortege leaving her residence tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to All Saints Church, Newton Cunningham, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral tomorrow. The Mass can be viewed live online at newtonkillayparish.com. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member or Kelly's Funeral Director. One-way system in place. Please follow the signs. The death has taken place of Philip McLaughlin, Phillips, Dunree, Linsford, Buncrana, leaving his residence at 10:30 this morning, going to Star of the Sea Church, Desertegney, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial in the adjoining cemetery. The Mass can be viewed live on the parish YouTube channel. House private, please, before the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Alzheimer's Association, care of any family member. And the death has taken place of Joe McGranahan, 4 Tullacor Drive, Strabane. Funeral leaving his home at 11:20 this morning for Requiem Mass in Sacred Heart Church, Derry Road, Strabane, at 12 noon. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, before the funeral. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Smart employers choose One for All. Reward your staff tax-free now up to €1,500 with gift cards that can be spent directly in-store and online with thousands of retailers on thousands of brands. Give cards physically or digitally. It's gifting made simple. Order One for All gift cards now at any post office or online at onpost.com/business gifting. Terms and conditions apply. The One for All gift card is issued by GVS Prepaid Europe Limited and regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Good morning, and you're very welcome into the second hour of today's show. If you've just joined us, where have you been? You missed an interesting first hour, and many of you commenting in off the back of listening to that. Read the city initiatives. Accommodation in a city is the death of business. Is that really the way we want to go? I mean, obviously, if the accommodation replaces businesses, evidently it is it is the death of that business. But this is not about sort of incentivizing businesses to switch to residential property. But the more people you'd have in a city, the more vibrant you have a nighttime of a nighttime economy as well. You would note cafes staying open later, pubs being busier, restaurants being busier. So I wouldn't agree with you. Obviously, if the accommodation is replacing businesses, you're 100% correct. But I think a good mix, you see cities empty out, certain places empty out, and there's nothing going on, like nothing going on. It's crazy sometimes. So I think a balance is good, but you may well be right too. A caller asks, why were so many people informers within the IRA? Why were there so many from the top to the bottom? Well, in any conflict, dispute, warfare, whatever way you want to describe it, there are always people that switch. They did it in World War II. They're doing it right now in Ukraine, where Russians are being accused of helping Ukrainians and vice versa. It's always been a case. What are the regulations for defective concrete block houses, and where are the defective materials going once the house is demolished? I know of some contractors who are actually burying the materials. Well, that's not allowed. There is specific regulative routes that I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure if it's allowed. I don't know if burying it's allowed. Sorry, I shouldn't say that as if I know it. I don't know. I would have thought it wouldn't be allowed because there are specific regulatory routes. It's not as bad as I don't think, in terms of public health, it's not as bad as like asbestos, but it's in the same space in terms of how you have to dispose of it. And I know the council or the state, I can't remember, maybe it was the council, put out tenders for companies to actually deal with this waste specifically. But I know there are people very much in the know in that regard, and they'll put me right as to whether or not you can bury it. I presume you can't, and how you go about getting rid of it effectively. On the issue of recycling, I've noticed a large number of business people taking people's return cans and bringing them back to the return scheme. Are they donating this money to charity or simply pocketing it? I'm trying to figure out what's happening there. How are businesses getting their hands... Oh, right, okay, I get where you're coming from. So in other words, if you're in a restaurant and you get a can of Coke, they're retaining the can and you're wondering what's happening with the 15 cent. Well, you'd have to be sure that the additional 15 cent in that scenario had actually been applied to the cost already, right? So we are charged the 15 cent, but if we're not charged the 15 cent, I suppose the company can do with the cans whatever they wish to do. There is a recycling centre in Dunlow, great service, no excuses, yes, and I've had reason to use the recycling service in Milford. Lovely lads working in there. And equally down in Lahey, I've used that place as well. They're the experiences of two recycling centres, and they couldn't be more helpful. Actually, particularly friendly, which is nice. Name and shame the polluters. In France, they put names and photos of the people in the papers and on social media. Only shaming them will make them stop. I'm not sure there's much point in putting things in the papers anymore, but certainly social media, name and shame. But sometimes people don't have any shame, and if they're from outside the state, in some cases, maybe they don't care. A caller says, I bet money the bottles and cans are from Northern Ireland, therefore no return scheme, and they don't want to pay to bin them properly. Well, you don't have to pay, you see. You can go to the... These people, if a dump was open 24 hours a day and was twice the distance away from this road in Dukery, they'd still go up to the road in Dukery and dump them. I'm not contradicting the councillor, but he's got more faith in people than I am. On road safety, Greg, I've noticed a huge increase in the number of students getting off secondary school buses and walking straight out in front of you to cross the road. Surely, at this age, they should know better. Unfortunately, I come across quite a bit of that myself. Great work on your coverage of social media, the dirty war in the north, etc. For your information, you can pause your VPN too so that it will not reduce algorithms. Yeah, I know where you're coming from, but it's still... just by the way, in relation to age checks in Britain, just to give you some stats, the UK effectively. So they introduced age checks this year. And a well-known adult site, beginning with a P, its visits from the UK decreased by 77% when compared to July of 2025 following the introduction of age verification laws. So, is that effectively stopping young boys and girls going on to this P-Hub website, or is that adults desisting from going on it because they don't want to have to provide ID? Generally speaking, visits to adult sites reduced by a third. Maybe it's no harm. Adults are visiting them less as well, or maybe they're getting them somewhere else. So there you go. We don't know if the 77% reduction of adult site visitors were minors. We don't know that because they could be adults as well. But as I say, 1/3 of the UK's viewers of adult sites in general were under 18. So that would indicate perhaps maybe. So like under 18 shouldn't be on these sites polluting their young minds, should they? There can never be an argument for that. But as I say, VPNs can be used. But you really have to have a real interest in that stuff to start fiddling with the VPNs. And I'm not sure everyone has. What the government is doing is too little too late, believes the listener. The phones should have eye recognition so that they can't watch whatever they want until they're 18. Once they're 18, they can access whatever they want. Until this is done, there's no way around this. Phones have ruined a whole generation. And I just want to mention more messages coming in that regard as well, but I'll get to them a little later because we have the bingo numbers coming. Good morning, Greg. There's a coffee morning in the Red Door Farm today from 10:30, so it's kicking off in 12 minutes, until 1 p.m. It's all in aid of the Residents' Comfort Fund at the Nazareth House. So if you want to get along for a nice cup of coffee or tea, maybe some tray bakes, get along to the Red Door in Farm until 1 p.m. this day. And you'll be supporting the event and in turn supporting the Residents' Comfort Fund at Nazareth House, which is really significant because it makes people's lives all the more enjoyable.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 10th of December. You're playing on the blue sheet for the daily prize of €1,000. The reference number is S8. It's game number 50. The numbers are 31, 81, 8, 54, 35, 20, 89, 2, 74, and finally 32. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
This Christmas, don't miss the sound that makes the season magical. At Connect Hearing, we understand that hearing is more than sound, it's connection. Our expert team provides personalised hearing care from gentle wax removal to the latest in advanced hearing aids, tailored to you, so you can enjoy every laugh, every song, every precious moment. Call Connect Hearing today on 07491 13296. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life this Christmas and beyond.
It's not Christmas without fighting over tangled lights and making up while putting the star on top. Without hearing about fairy tales in New York, hearing there's one for everyone in the audience, or hearing Dad say, that's it for another year. It's not Christmas without him, or her, or them. Without cracking open the good biscuits, the tin of Jacobs that's supposed to be kept for the visitors, but is best shared with those you love. Jacobs, at the heart of every Irish Christmas.
The Ford 261 sales event is now on at Hegarty's Ford Letterkenny. Discover incredible savings across Ford's electrified range, including the new Ford Puma Gen E, the iconic Ford Capri, and the fantastic new Ford Explorer. All with a free home charger and a free 5-year service plan. And available now with 0% finance. Call into Hegarty's Ford, Kilmacrennan Road, Letterkenny. For full details, see hegartys.com.
Gift sets by celebrity, by budget, or from the classic collection at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For the perfect present every time, visit mcgees.ie, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
We're joined on the programme now by Andrew Brownlee, who's CEO of the Construction Industry Federation. Thank you so much for joining us, and a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Right, you are in the county to meet CIF's members, construction companies from the region, and a lot to discuss in a lot of for a lot of different reasons. Quite interesting to read a statistic: 62% of Ireland's leading contractors are scaling up operations abroad, which is problematic, isn't it? Especially given the government's very ambitious housing delivery expectations.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And look, I think there's no doubt at the moment that we're in a kind of national housing and infrastructure emergency. You'd have seen a whole range of kind of policy initiatives in order to try and stimulate housing supply in recent months. And last week, you obviously had the Accelerating Infrastructure Task Force report, which is really about trying to address the infrastructure blockages that are stopping housing from being developed, and also our infrastructure from being put in place to sustain communities. And look, I think it is a really significant issue. It is a really significant issue for Donegal and for the Northwest. If you look at the IMD World Competitiveness Rankings, like Ireland is ranked as the most competitive economy in Europe, but on basic infrastructure, it's 44th out of 69 developed economies. And if you go further than that and you look at the actual North and West region, there's some great work by the Northern Western Regional Assembly on this, actually. Where the Northwest region is actually ranked at 218 out of 234 regions across Europe. So we have a major infrastructure deficit here, and we need to find ways to unblock the water, the energy, the transport infrastructure in order to start to grow our housing supply.
So, Andrew, in relation to the conversation you'll be having tonight, is it on housing and major infrastructural development, or is the focus more on infrastructural development?
Yeah, I mean, I think the beauty of the Construction Industry Federation, I'm two months into the job as CEO now, is like we represent everyone across the industry, from the smallest companies, 1 to employee companies to the largest kind of international contractors. And so what you find when you go and meet the different branches is the dynamics are completely different, and there's so many different issues and opportunities that to talk about. So I think infrastructure is really good, really important from a Donegal perspective, because there is a regional imbalance there. It's great to hear the NDP talk about 275 billion, but we really need to see those plans address the real infrastructure deficit that's in the Northwest. So I mean that includes things like looking at extending the Western Rail corridor into Sligo, Donegal, and up to Derry. It's about fast tracking the 10T road project, between Letterkenny, Manor-Cunningham, Lifford, Ballybofey, Stranorla bypass.
Is it a case that we have to be careful that we, by the time, say, for instance, the 10T project, I think that's more likely to ever come to fruition than a Western Rail corridor, unfortunately. But is it a case that we could find ourselves, with slim pickings in terms of companies that are capable of taking on such a project? Because, I don't think there's any there's no projects of that scale, as far as I'm aware, currently in planning across the country in that window. Now, my information could be wrong in relation to that, but that's my understanding, right? So these companies aren't going to sit in their backsides. They're going to look to where there's some certainty in 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So I'm wondering, could we find ourselves then with, paying more, because how many bidders can come in and actually deliver that project, especially with the optimism of maybe having all three strands of it beginning at the same time? That's only big companies can do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what we would stress, and obviously we represent the industry, but we very much believe that the industry has the capacity to deliver. I think you mentioned at the top of the item, like our main contractors are actually growing their overseas business at around about 3-4 times the rate that they're growing the domestic business. And that's at a time when, as I've said, we have a national housing and infrastructure emergency. So if we're clear about when these projects are happening, where they're happening, when they're being tendered, when they're going to commence, when they're going to complete, and how much investment is going to be involved, then our industry will be able to have the workforce ready, have the capacity ready to deliver. But it really is about that certainty. It really is about turning the NDP, the task force report, into a tangible pipeline of concrete projects that will allow our employers to kind of ramp up and be ready.
Is it possible, though, that maybe some of your members hold all the cards, to quote Donald Trump, which I never thought I might, in that, we saw a situation where there were, 40, 50, 60,000 planning permissions that were granted for projects around the capital. They were sat on, and then the government in the budget came in with incentives to try and to get them going. Is there a bit of that gaming going on, that the industry is big, but it's also such that really you can leverage the government and effectively us, just to drive profits?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the first point to make is, our members operate in the private sector. They have to generate enough income to wash their faces. Otherwise, they wouldn't survive. Their shareholders would not support them. So, there is a need for projects to stack up commercially. And the stark truth has been, particularly around Dublin, that the development of apartments, the development of new homes in many cases has not been viable over the last few years. We've been relying on the Land Development Authority, the approved housing bodies, to develop effectively all of the apartment stock in particular. So we had to move the dial. We had to introduce, things like rent pressure zone changes, apartment design standards, the VAT reduction, to actually make the business case viable for our home builders and our contractors to invest in the area. Because there's a complete lack of private investment at the moment, and we need to bring that back into the equation if we're to have any hope of delivering the 300,000 houses by 2030.
In relation to that, what role, if any, do your members have in the delivery of water and power infrastructure? Because if we're completely honest, in terms of the scale of delivery, that can only come when we've got sewers, when we've got water, when we've got power. So do your members of the Federation have much of a role in the infrastructural delivery at that level? And if you don't, that's a problem too, because that has to be costed and timelined before you can even begin to start timelining some of these major projects and not so major projects.
Yeah, I mean, our members are absolutely at the heart of those infrastructure development projects. When I talk about certainty, I mean, what is really key is is knowing when these water, these energy, these transport projects are going to happen. So it's really, really important that we understand that kind of concrete project pipeline. I mean, there's a kind of start fact set out in that Accelerating Infrastructure report last week that the development cycle for our utilities projects is now around twice as long as it was 20 years ago. So we have to unblock the infrastructure development challenges that exist at the moment. I think there's encouraging signs. The Housing Activation Unit is specifically looking at sites where you can unlock housing supply within a relatively short time frame with one piece of infrastructure. So that might be a link road, that might be a bit of wastewater infrastructure, it might be ESB connectivity. And so there's a real focus on kind of where we can ramp up housing supply in the short term. And then hopefully this task force report will really start to address the major critical infrastructure blockages over the next few years. And I mean, they're talking about things like legislating for critical national infrastructure projects. They're talking about...
They were doing that. I remember having that conversation 15, 16 years ago about an interconnector for Donegal, talking about new schemes that would... You couldn't oppose certain developments that were seen to be in the national interest or whatever it might be. But I don't know if anything ever came of that. Andrew, just you might not have the figure in front of you. There's different figures bandied about as to the workforce. How many feet can get on the ground, how many bums can get into the excavators, etc. I've heard some figures like there's a 70,000-80,000 shortfall in construction workers that would be required to deliver some of the stuff we're talking about from within the industry. Is there a workforce shortage? And if so, what's the figure being talked about?
No, I mean, I don't believe so. We have 179,000 people working in the construction industry
So where do
today.
these talk of, where do these, these figures of 70 or 80,000 short, where do they come from then? Maybe you don't know. I'm just curious. You've heard them yourself, I presume.
Like there is analysis out there that kind of looks at the extent of the infrastructure, the housing development required, and kind of projects that over the existing labour force. But I suppose I would make the point that our industry is changing by the day. The adoption of modern methods of construction, different ways of building, different ways of construction, different ways of managing projects, that all plays into a different skills set that we're going to require moving forward. I mean, I came from Solace, which was the national kind of further education and training and apprenticeship agency. So I have a bit of insight into this, and there's kind of a default assumption that if you're doubling the number of homes you want to build, you need to double the number of apprenticeships.
It's not true, no, of course not.
That's just not true. There are so many diverse and new skills that our industry requires. We do need to get more people into the construction industry. We need to get more young people interested. We need to convince them that it's not a job that necessarily means you're out on site all day. There's so many different roles that you can take on in the industry now. So we need to get more people in. We need to get more people back to Ireland. I think there's a stat that up to 4,900 Irish construction workers emigrate each year to go and work elsewhere. So we need to get them back in the country. But I think if we do that, we have the capacity to ramp up. Such an exciting industry with so many opportunities now, and it's just about building the momentum, supporting our members and our employers, and having a real clear idea about when these projects are happening, and we'll be ready to deliver.
And finally, maybe you touched on it, are there Northwest Donegal specific conversations you're anticipating in this meeting?
Yeah, I mean, going back to that point, I mean, obviously there's particular infrastructure challenges for Donegal, and there is a deficit there. That stat about how far behind the curve it is when you look at kind of other European regions, I think that's really important. I mean, the other issue that I'm sure will be no surprise to you is you're obviously on the border. So there are, issues around, contractors in Northern Ireland, competing fairly for business. There are issues around, you obviously have a very regional workforce. So issues around things like, country money and tax treatment of employees who by necessity have to be very mobile in our industry. There's obviously the zoning of land at local authority level. So every branch meeting I've been to so far has its own kind of unique kind of perspectives and issues that they want the CIF to address, and I'm sure tonight will be no different. And I think some of those things will certainly be raised.
All right, Andrew, thanks for all your time. Look after yourself. Andrew Brownlee, CEO of the Construction Industry Federation. Before a break, actually, I believe we've got a caller who a contributor who's relatively tight on time. So I'll take this break and we'll come back with the director of the National Cancer Registry Ireland.
Chanel, Flowerbomb, Lancôme, Giorgio Armani, Paco Rabanne. Where else but at McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny, this Christmas. Sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Running a business isn't easy, but accessing support should be. The new National Enterprise Hub is the single source for all government support for your business. With over 180 supports in one place, it's easier than ever to find grants, advice, training, and more. And don't worry about not knowing what you need. Our helpful team will guide you every step of the way. Visit neh.gov.ie to learn how we can help. The National Enterprise Hub. Support starts here, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
For the perfect gift this Christmas, visit Tinney's Toys in Letterkenny, where you'll find top quality toys at great prices. From Care Bears to Lego, Beyblades to Brooder toys, and our amazing range of kids' electric ride-on cars, Tinney's Toys has something for every wish list. Visit us in store at Leck Road, Letterkenny, or shop the entire range online at tinneys.toys.com. Tinney's Toys, much more than just farm toys.
Take the guesswork out of gifting this Christmas. Give your loved ones hundreds of brands to choose from with the McElhinney's gift card or digital e-gift card. Available from just €20. Easy, convenient, local. Find all you need to make Christmas magic at McElhinney's.
Do you know Claire Clothing, Letterkenny, has moved to 54 Upper Main Street, right beside Brian McCormick's? And we are now exclusive stockists of Bugatti women's wear at Claire Clothing, Upper Main Street, Letterkenny.
Celebrate the season in style with Evolve Clothing. Find festive fashion and unbeatable style at Letterkenny Retail Park or click evolveclothing.com to refresh your holiday wardrobe. Your new look is just a click away.
Who's making something wonderful at Lidl this year?
Hi, I'm David Brett from Oak Park. We pride ourselves on supplying award-winning hams to Lidl each Christmas. We select Bord Bia quality assured Irish pork. We naturally smoke them using beechwood chips.
Oak Park's Bord Bia approved ham joints from $9.99. Lidl, more to value.
At Joe McGee Butchers, we have all your needs to make your Christmas dinner extra special this year. If it's a fresh whole turkey or turkey breast fillet in a vac pack cooking bag with a cooking pop-up timer, a delicious ham joint or succulent dry-aged sirloin steak, call in today to the award-winning Joe McGee's Butchers, Letterkenny Shopping Centre, where we have your Christmas all wrapped up.
Now, research from the National Cancer Registry Ireland shows diagnoses of cancer dropped by almost a third at the start of COVID, but numbers returned to normal by 22. Survival rates for 2020 and 21 were remained in line with previous years, this despite the pandemic's impact on health services. Professor Deirdre Murray is Director of the National Cancer Registry in Ireland. Good morning, Deirdre. Thank you very much for your time.
Good morning, Greg.
Were you surprised to learn that there is no clear evidence of lasting harm to early survival or mortality even during those COVID years?
Well, I suppose when we do think back to 2020, there was a lot of concern that people were going to present late with their cancers progress further than usual, and that people undergoing treatment services would have their treatments disrupted, and that would impact on their outcomes. But I suppose what we have found is that there was no consistent rise in the number of late diagnoses. So although there was a reduction in 2020, it was predominantly in patients who with very early diagnosis who have maybe a little bit more time to be picked up. So that kind of was very reassuring. And it's also encouraging to see, I mean, this is only early stage diagnosis. It's only the 1 year diagnosis, 1 year survival. That 1 year survival was stable for those diagnosed in 2020 and 2021 compared to previous years.
And how could that be with, I think maybe you touched on this to some extent because people maybe had more time, but a pause in the screening programmes, the difficulties in getting actually into the GP's office, which can often be the first port of call. Do we understand why that didn't lead to any data changes?
Well, I suppose, GP visits were virtual rather than being in person. And then, of course, we have to remember things like private hospitals were commissioned to look after non-COVID cases. And as well as that, GPs had enhanced direct access to diagnostics, whereas before they used to have to go through hospital services, they had direct access to diagnostics. So those all most likely helped. As well as that, there was a lot of work done nationally to improve patient pathways, to kind of tweak guidelines to keep patients away from the acute services as much as possible, at the same time keeping their treatment schedules, as close to what had been planned. So it was, there was a huge effort from both public and private healthcare providers, and wrapped around really cancer patients, and we were seeing early signs that it was effective.
Obviously, some of those elements aren't sustainable, but there are enhancements there. Do we continue to employ those enhancements, and is there any learnings that could actually maybe see us, reduce deaths from cancer from what we've learned at what we can do in difficult times like COVID?
Well, I suppose that the mechanisms that were put in place, as we said, so far have seemed to work. Now, the Cancer Registry is the national repository for cancer data, and we've been monitoring cancer patients for 30 years, and will continue to monitor this cohort for 5 years and 10 years past diagnosis. And we might see some late or delayed effects then. But, the fact that we didn't see it at 1 year, and particularly for some of those time-sensitive cancers, such as lung cancer, when we didn't see delayed effects in 1 year, that is positive in terms of cancer services. It's hard to know, to divide out which of all the various mechanisms and interventions that were put in was most successful. But there's no doubt about it that kind of unprecedented public and private working together to counter COVID and protect cancer patients was successful from the data to date.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, Professor Deirdre Murray, Director of the National Cancer Registry in Ireland. Right, we had this correspondence from a listener, and it reads as follows. Hi, Greg. I know everyone is full of excitement for Christmas, but personally, I'm dreading it. Why? Well, my husband's parents will arrive the week before Christmas and make themselves at home until the second week in January. In that time, I'll be chief cook and bottle washer. They wouldn't be so bad if his mother wasn't the most unkind woman in the world. Constant remarks about our two girls' behaviour, who really are the quietest, best girls ever. I've asked my husband to tell them that we've plans this year and will not be here. But no, he wants to keep the peace and keep saying ignore her. It's getting harder and harder. Since he won't say it, I'm trying to pick up the courage to say it. My question is, do I do it via phone call or text message? How have others handled it? If we didn't have Santa arriving, I'd book Spain. Well, you can't book Spain because Santa is arriving. So what do you do in this situation? Mum and Dad, I think they're really overstaying the welcome there, to be honest with you. And I loved my parents a day or two more than enough, but they're staying for effectively 3 weeks, a week before Christmas and into the second week of January. The woman of the house is chief cook and bottle washer. What would be particularly annoying is the constant commentary on her girls' behaviour. We're very defensive, and she knows her girls are good, and it's difficult if you've got someone that, and especially over that period of time, might influence them or their confidence for that matter. The husband, who I think has the major role in this because it's his parents, seems to not want to get involved and doesn't want to upset the peace. That is the problem for me. The caller's completely skipped over that and gone straight to how does she handle it. Firstly, I would say that you need to say to your husband that, look, I love your parents, but it's too long. It's a special time of the year. It's a family time, and at some point it has to be our time. And you love having the parents over, but it's just too long. I wouldn't get into the labour side of it, cooking and cleaning, and or even actually I wouldn't even get in necessarily to the treatment of the two girls. It's just too long. I think it's just too blooming long. And I don't think really it should be you that has to say it to them. But maybe you know that your husband won't and you're taking matters into your own hand. How do you say it? What do you say? 086 60 25,000. Have you ever had to deal with this? 086 60 25,000, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Right, some of your comments on this on social media, because we popped it up on our socials in advance of talking about it now. My advice would be to let them come and ignore her as much as possible, but when she mentions your children or complains, be ready to defend them. Have your replies ready, short and to the point. Just say a little, but in words that she knows you will not see your children being bullied, because that's what she's doing. I feel your pain, but can understand your husband wanting to keep the peace. Say little, but be sure she knows you mean it. Set down a few rules in the beginning on how it's going to be. Best holiday ever, and happiness and niceness is the theme. Good luck. Be ready. The problem is it could just very much be that person's personality, and it's very hard to change that person's personality. Another, God forgive me, but even parents-in-law should know when to come and when to leave. Your husband needs to stand up and be the man. Tell them in the nice way that they are welcome for Christmas dinner and a 2-day stay, but it's time for your family, for your husband and kids to rest, rewind and reconnect, not jump around. Parents in law. I agree with you. That's Victoria that made that comment. Yeah, that to me is the common sense thing, and I do really think it's down to the husband. It's too long, and it is a time for bonding and getting together, and you don't want to go back to work exhausted, or when the house clears working from at home or in the home exhausted. It's too blooming long. Let's know. I'll bring you some more social media comments in relation to that as the morning wears on. And we want your radio comments on it. 08660 25,000. And we just have to understand that we have to factor in that maybe the mother-in-law is jealous of the wife's relationship with her son. That happens. Let's not pretend it doesn't happen. That she could be really quite contrary, that she might not even like the daughter. Maybe she doesn't feel she's up to scratch. I'm not saying that's the case, but we have to factor that in giving advice. This could be the 3 weeks of the year where she can really make this girl's life a misery. You just don't know. Personally, 2 days, and then I would lie and say we are moving. We're not going to Spain. We're going down the country. Or we've got day trips planned for the kids or something. And be prepared to almost fall out over the head of it. That's what I'd do anyway.
The 9 till noon show with McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny, offering a great range of digital cameras and binoculars for Christmas. McGee's, the photographic experts, where the best costs less.
At Hidden Hearing, we believe you should keep hearing it all. Keep dancing. Keep celebrating. Keep laughing. Keep being you. Call 1-800-370-000 or go to hiddenhearing.ie and book a free hearing test today. Hidden Hearing. Your hearing is our expertise.
Get in the Christmas spirit with great value this week at Dunnes Stores. Choose from our Lindt Lindor Truffles 337-gram range, now only €10 each. Pick up selected Pringles 165-gram, now half price at just €1.74. And check out Deal 10 of our 12 Deals of Christmas, with a great selection of Lego sets, now half price. Plus, you can save more with your 10 off 50 voucher. Make Christmas for everyone at Dunnes Stores. Terms and conditions apply. Vouchers can be used on next grocery shop.
Give the gift of comfort and hope to those who need it this Christmas with a Trócaire gift of change. Visit trócaire.org/gifts or call 1800 408 408 to buy a gift and change a life. Trócaire, together for a just world.
Introducing Secret RF Microneedling to Genesis Clinic Gidor, a treatment that tightens, lifts and reduces wrinkles, stretch marks and scars. EDO thread lifts, exosomes and skin boosters are also available, improving facial contours and lifting jowls, the neck, cheeks and eyebrows. Genesis also offers dermal fillers and laser treatments for rosacea and acne, plus all skin conditions. Christmas vouchers available from the clinic and online. Genesis Clinic Gidor, 074 95 325 575.
Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana, the biggest direct importer of sofas, beds, mattresses and flooring in the Northwest. Best in stock deals on selected sofas and corner sofas. Best in stock deals on gas lift beds. Best in stock on mattresses. Best in stock deals on laminate flooring, semi-solid flooring and carpets. Full fitting service on carpets and wood flooring. With a free delivery service throughout the Northwest, including all of Northern Ireland. Hegarty's Home Interiors Buncrana. Always lower prices.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. Find Christmas inspiration for everyone, from top beauty gifts to perfect last-minute ideas. Visit us in Ballybuffet to explore the full range or shop online anytime at mcelhinneys.com.
So, we're going to see showers being isolated to the more northern parts of our region today. Elsewhere, there'll be dry weather with sunny spells. Mostly dry conditions, in fact, for the rest of the day. It's really the further south you go. Staying breezy, though. Temperatures 8 to 11 degrees. We are joined on the programme now by Dr. Miola Murphy, I beg your pardon. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Murphy is an ED consultant and board member of the Women of the World programme. Cheryl Davis is president of the Women of the World programme in Donegal. Good morning to you, Cheryl.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to your listeners as well.
It's great to have you with us. Right, so what's the focus of the annual Intercultural Women's Seminar? I don't know which one of you want to take that.
I'll talk about that. So the Women's Seminar is very much it's an annual forum for women to come together and talk about issues that affect women, not just local women, but migrant women, because those issues affect women differently. So we do this every year, usually around November. We're going to be holding one this year on Thursday, tomorrow actually, on the 11th of November. And the theme this year, it's going to reflect the issues going on now. The theme is exploring diversity, opportunity, and challenges for inclusion.
Yeah, and there are lots of challenges, and there's sort of and they're interwoven, whether it's gender, ethnicity, interculturalism, racism. All women are going to be touched, I think, unless you're very lucky, by some form of issues in those areas, Cheryl.
Yes, definitely. There's a lot of issue, and it's very hard when you don't know where to go, especially when you just come into the country. You don't have a clue what the informations are, where the informations are, where the right people are to talk to, and stuff like that. So we're there to just to highlight these information and to get the words out there, so women feel a sense of calm, when they come to us, just to have a conversation.
I presume it's also a nice space, is it, for women from all different backgrounds to come together?
Definitely it is. And, what we tend to do as well, we tend to let them feel relaxed in the sense that, it doesn't matter where you're from. You're always welcome. Come to the table and let's talk about what is affecting you. And then we will be there to help you. If we don't have the answers, we'll go and find it out.
Dr. Daneo, too, lots of guest speakers.
Lots of guest speakers. There's amazing panel of women from different parts that address women issues. We've got somebody from migrant women and health, specifically to talk about health issues affecting women. We've got somebody from the DLDC addressing issues around employment and opportunity for women. We'll be challenging issues on gender-based violence, specifically how it affects women. And we'll be talking about migrant women and education. So a broad panel of issues, and we're hoping to identify key issues that women feel affected by mostly. And we're going to be identifying issues to tackle actively in 2026.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because, it would still have value as a talking shop, and I don't mean that in a derogative way, but you want something to come from this as well, whether it's at health board, council or government level, because you're doing a great job in identifying this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But we can't just know it's happening, right? We have to sort of figure out how we address it.
Absolutely. There's active participation. The way we actually do it every year, and it'll be similar this year as well. It's not just a bunch of speakers talking at women. We're talking to women. Women are participating. And afterwards, we break out into breakout sessions where we actually highlight issues that women may want to talk about, so that everybody has their voice heard. And that's usually how we operate. And we actually take back these voices and suggestions to the office and formulate proper plans for the year.
Yeah, and it's all about women empowering women. It's the annual intercultural seminar on Thursday, the 11th of December. It's at the Trinity Hall, Ard O'Donnell in Letterkenny, and registration is essential. Booking is essential because places are limited, and we have those details here if you wish to go along. There's also a fashion show on the 18th. Cheryl, talk to me about that.
Yes, we will have a fashion show on the 18th in the Radisson Blu Hotel, and that fashion show, it don't just look at a specific demographic of women. It takes in everybody, so everyone can come in and shine. It doesn't matter where you're from. You come in, enjoy, and just have a great time, and just share your culture. It's amazing how you could look at a culture from a different perspective in the way they present and the things they do within their culture, and so it eases people in terms of when you see a person, because normally we judge just by looking, but if you get to see how they respond and what they do on a daily basis, you can understand how they live.
But it sounds like also a nice opportunity to dress up.
Oh, it is.
You know what I mean?
Is.
Even in cultural or cultural traditional clothing. You know what I mean? Whereby you might feel there aren't too many occasions in which you can do so. We all love a bit of dress up, don't we?
And I think it also gives women an opportunity to put on clothes that they wouldn't put on normally.
That's what I mean.
There's so much pride and
take
excitement.
them off.
Well,
no, I don't mean what I mean is, the cardigans and the jumpers, right? I don't mean anything.
This is a family show, right?
No, I don't. Doctor, do not paint me into that corner. I didn't mean it like that, right? And it's so important, isn't it, that we are not siloed, that the more we understand and learn about each other and our common problems, the better it is, isn't it, Doctor?
Absolutely. We want to emphasize that both the fashion show and the annual conference, they're actually part of the Peace Plus project for creative minorities. It's an active project that's actually meant to introduce interculturalism, multiculturalism, because a lot of our communities have been accused of just maybe involving migrant women. We're saying not just migrant women, we want local women, we want women from Ireland, women from diverse communities, because it's the only way we're going to start integrating and getting people to ask those questions about each other, so that we ease.
So many opinions are formed by a lack of understanding, and that's not even intercultural. That's in many areas of life. So it is an interesting day. There's a bit of food as well. It is it's the annual intercultural seminar. It's Thursday the 11th of December in the Trinity Hall. It kicks off at 9:30 with registration and conversation, and runs then right through to a light halal multi-ethnic lunch to be served at 1 p.m. Right. If you want to book, get on to donegalLIP@gmail.com. We also have telephone numbers here for you as well. And just to keep a note for your diary, when's the start time for the fashion show on Thursday the 18th of December in the Radisson? Cheryl, I think you have that flyer, don't you?
I do have the flyer here, and the start time will be about 6 o'clock.
6 p.m. Yeah.
Right. We come in at 6 o'clock and set up and, just look gorgeous, take our pictures first and stuff, and then we knock it all off by 6:37.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot of selfies taken that night.
Oh, I'm telling you, just before Christmas, all the dolls and the glams are going to come out. So
brilliant.
Definitely loads of
Sounds
pictures.
like a really fun night out. Okay. Right, so that's 2 dates for your diary. Get along to the annual intercultural seminar. That's in the Trinity Hall on Thursday the 11th. The following week, then the 18th, it's the fashion show in the Radisson Hotel, Letterkenny. Dr. Dunau Miola Murphy.
Dunau Miola Murphy, thank you.
I feel like we're saying it the same
Yes,
way, but maybe
yes.
I'm not. An ED consultant. Keep up the great work down there, by the way. Cheryl Davies, President of the Women of the World Programme in Donegal. Lovely to see both of you. Thank you so much for calling in, and two very
And
important
just before
events.
we even
Of course,
knock
Cheryl.
off, because even with the fashion show, we're just going to highlight as well, with the Hurricane Melissa there. So proceeds as well will go, any donations at all will go towards that as well. So just to let everybody know, because, that's going to be an ongoing process right up
Exactly.
through.
So it's for a good cause
It is
as
for
well
definitely
as
good
a
cause.
good night out, of course. Right. Okay.
Definitely.
That's the best way to do it. Thank you so much, both of you. We'll be back with the news, which we're just a couple of minutes late, so stay tuned.
Fill your stocking this Christmas from all the great gift ideas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show. See mcgees.ie or like McGee's on Facebook for a chance to win some great prizes.
Have you been switching things up since last time, Claire, like we discussed?
Yes. I've been on a switching roll. Breakfast for lunch, dinner for breakfast, left shoe on the right foot, and vice versa. Looks well, doesn't it? Walking the cat, letting the ducks feed me.
Wonderful, Claire.
Switching things up is good for you. That includes your energy supplier. When you do, know the CRU is your energy ally. Get advice and know your rights. Visit cru.ie.
ZYXWVUT.
I know what you're feeling, and I was there too. And I know you might think that there is nobody to talk to, but I promise that you're not alone. It was never your fault, and you deserve support and healing in your own time. Whenever you're ready to talk, Dublin Rape Crisis Centre will be ready to listen. Call the 24-hour national helpline on 1-800-77-8888.
Ho, ho, ho! Santa is coming to Homeland Letterkenny on Saturday 13th of December from 1 till 4 p.m. Meet and greet with Santa Claus and enjoy festive refreshments in store. There's also an exclusive 50% of all Christmas decorations in store on the day. For more information, visit homeland.ie.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Start the day with our mini breakfast at Sweeney's Hotel, Dunlow. Only €10 at Bacchus Bakery. Then slow Sunday right down with Sunday lunch and glass restaurant from $18.50 for one course. Festive comfort, great food and winter warmth are waiting. Book now, Sweeney's Hotel 074 952 1085.
Are you feeling stressed, in pain or in need of a reset? Imagine a place where gentle healing vibrations, light and sound gently wash over you, nurturing both your body and mind, melting away tension and easing pain. This is possible at Beyond Light Therapy, designed to support deep relaxation, renewal, and your body's natural ability to heal. People report a sense of calm, improved mood, mental clarity, and renewed energy. At Beyond Light Therapy, where health begins, experience the first 60-unit energy enhancement system on the planet. Call us today to begin your journey.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's 2 minutes past 11. Time for a news update, and we cross over to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Deputy Patrick McLaughlin has raised the issue of the need for improvements at St Eunan's College in Letterkenny. In the Dáil, during a sitting last night, he told Junior Minister Frank Feehan that the building is over 115 years old, has 8 toilet cubicles for almost 1,000 students, and last received significant improvement works in the 1970s. He says those works which have been promised need to be expedited. He's urging Minister Hildegard Naughton to visit the school as quickly as possible. The Mayor of Letterkenny is welcoming a government commitment to move quickly on the town's inclusion in a scheme to tackle dereliction next year. The Taoiseach and Finance Minister Simon Harris announced this morning that moves to enact the Living City initiative in Letterkenny, Sligo, Athlone, Drogheda and Dundalk are beginning this week. Police in Tyrone have seized an uninsured vehicle and made 2 arrests for drug-related motoring offences in Sign Mills. It occurred yesterday shortly before 8:30 when police on patrol were alerted to a car driving erratically. The female driver, aged 28, was arrested on suspicion of offences including driving while unfit through drink or drugs, possession of Class B controlled drug and using a motor vehicle without insurance. The CEO of the Construction Industry Federation says he believes the industry has the capacity to build major projects like the 10T road network in Donegal, as well as building the 300,000 homes needed to address the current housing crisis. Concern had been expressed after it emerged over 60% of the Federation's members are increasing their overseas interests, with questions about whether there would be enough skilled workers to see projects through in Ireland. However, on the 9 till Noon show this morning, CEO Andrew Brennelly said what's needed are firm commitments from government regarding funding and start dates for projects such as the 10T. He said when they're available, the industry will respond. And 21 cases of death were referred to the Garda Watchdog last year. FISRU's latest report shows road traffic incidents and people vulnerable or at risk were prominent in the referrals made. They're the headlines. We're back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thanks very much.
Hiya, Bhéh. Cé chuí bhfuil do chrathraigh déanamh?
Tá sé fós a goma, dógad an é. Tá blianta fada dobrodí amach ribh.
Ó má lis go raibh an tochaide am.
Nílas.
Tá sé sin uafásach.
Tá sagam. Heb é céirt faoin na hobrádaí. Ní hiúca sé bhaid sin go brach.
Nóbéh deis ag tinna tosú, mar na rasóisi ní stopitad í. Tá tilla ólais le fáil ar fireireland.ie. Teachtacht ó rialtas na hÉireann.
086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. Give us a call too if you prefer on 074 91 25,000. Right, I'm joined on the programme now by Barry Quinn from the Portnew Market Garden. Barry, thanks for your time. Good morning to you.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing okay, Barry, and it's part of a fundraiser which has really taken off, and it's to help those in need. Talk to me about, what really sparked this into life.
So last week, on the run up to Christmas, my head was in a place where I wanted to give back to my community, because I have a substantial social media following, and I thought, how can I utilize that following to try and do some good in my community? And I went back and forth with my brother Dan. Help pensioners and that in our area to heat their homes over the Christmas period. I decided then it would be very difficult to reach out to those people. So yesterday I went into the Downstrands Family Resource Centre. I spoke with the staff down there, and my eyes were open to what's really going on in our local communities. It's not just here; it's all around Ireland. There's people really, really struggling. And I says, right, that's it. I'm gonna set up this GoFundMe, and we're gonna just, we hope for the best. I thought maybe 2,000, 3,000 euros would make a great impact on people's lives that need it in the area, and it's absolutely snowballed into something that is really incredible. And I'm so thankful to everybody who's donated and got involved.
There is a serious problem in this country, and one I try and highlight at any given opportunity, of hidden poverty in our communities, people struggling. We know the figures. There's 250,000 children in poverty. There's the working poor. There's the unemployed poor. And we're seeing record calls to the likes of St. Vincent de Paul. And this as, I'm sorry to make this a comment again, this as we're called a rich country. There's something going on. What you're doing is fantastic, Barry, but some of this wealth or care has to trickle down and start reaching these people that need it so badly.
Yeah, as you say, we're considered a first world country, but the truth is that when the cost of living is so high, and it's so easy for someone just to get behind, and then you can never get ahead when you're under that much pressure. It's so sad that it's come to this situation, but the likes of these family resource centres now are, the first line of defence to helping these people, and I think it's great to highlight it the way we have. These family resource centres are dotted throughout the country, and the people that are in need really need to utilise the help that they have there.
Yeah, you're working with the Downstrands Local Family Resource Centre. It covers Glenties, Ardra, Portneuf and surrounds, right? How will this generosity of the public reach those that need it most? Because there is and I think you maybe touched on this a little, but there is a logistics there, of getting the resources to those that need the most in a timely fashion.
Yeah, so we are under pressure with the time, because the resource centre actually closes for a bit of the Christmas period, and for anyone listening in the area, that if you're someone that needs help, you should really get in contact before the 17th of December so that you can get that help that's there. So the way we're going to do it now, we're going to be working directly with the guys in the resource centre. They are going to reach out to local businesses that can give us vouchers for their services, whether it's a local heating oil company, someone who supplies coal, or food vouchers from local shops. And so it's really important I know it's so sensitive and delicate subject, and people are so proud and embarrassed by getting into situations, but the guys in the resource centre are sitting by the phone right now, and I have a phone number here I'm going to give you, Greg. They're waiting by that phone for people to call, and they will help straight away. I'll just call out the number now. It's 087 385 1426. And as I say, pick up the phone. The help is there now. And don't suffer through Christmas, in a cold home, or deciding, can I go to the shop to buy this or that? Please take the help.
Yes, and it is about community, and we are fantastic as a community, and this is just about the community extending the hand of help. All you have to do is reach out and take it, right?
Yeah.
The people who might need it, because life can change blooming quick, it comes at you quick, may have been able to donate last year. They may end up donating next year if it were to exist, right? So this is about people in a position in the here and now. And your community, thanks to the efforts of Barry and the Downstrands Resource Centre and the generosity of the greater public, they've donated because they want to reach you. 087 385 1426. So you heard from Barry there. There is resources there now to keep the heating on, to keep the lights on over Christmas. And you ring that number, outline your scenario, where you're from, Barry. And, you know, I know this fundraiser has exceeded expectations, but sure, look at now that you're here. There's no upper limit to it as well. So if people want to, and they've heard how you're going to get these supports to people, it's very clear. So how do they go about then donating if they still wish to add to this fund?
So the GoFundMe is going to be kept open right up to Christmas. And if you go on to Portnew Market Garden, my social media pages on Facebook or on Instagram, there's a link in my bio there. Click on it and it'll take you straight to the GoFundMe page. And we're going to keep it open because although it's a substantial amount, we have 29,000 euros amazingly already raised, and it's still ticking over. And a really positive part of this is that not only are we going to help people now on the run up to Christmas, that fund will be there in January and February, where times can be really bleak because people overstretch themselves to have that Christmas for themselves and their families. And so that fund is there now to take the pressure off. You know, they know going into January that they can get that help if needed as well, you know. So what I must say before that this phone number is a confidential phone line. You're just going to leave your basic details with the person. I will never know myself who's dealing with this. This is a family resource centre who have done this time and time again to help people. So I'm just joining the dots here to try and help people out. And my local community here have come out in force to help their friends, their families, their neighbours. And my greater online community has shown us that you don't need to know someone to help them. You know, it's about making a difference in someone's life that you don't even know. And that's, I think, what life's really all about. It's a special thing. So to everyone once again, who's donated, you've done a brilliant thing. So fair play to you.
And just because the question's coming in, Barry, and I'm not sure it's because of someone in need, it's more just a question. These funds have been raised through the Downstrands Local Family Resource Centre. Are they to target the issues in the Glenties, Ardra, Portnew and surrounding areas quite specifically?
So we're working directly with the fact. I mean, this just snowballed. As I said, Greg, I went into the Downstrands Family Resource Centre, which is the Glenties, Ardra, Portnew catchment area. They work with the families and the people in need in that area. I understand that this is a far greater issue throughout Ireland, but right now this is what we've done. I've reacted to the news that I got yesterday. And this is where we've come at now. I'm going into the resource centre on Friday. We're going to start going through the local businesses that we're going to deal with to get these vouchers to help people, and we're going to get the ball rolling on it.
And because this is money that has to stretch, and businesses have to do their thing as well, but hopefully they've been nice and busy as well. It would be great if some of these companies maybe gave you a discount specific to these vouchers, because they know specifically that this is home heating, or using that as an example, that's going very specifically to families that are very much in need. There are other services out there in other areas as well, right? But there's a lot of deprivation in the areas that we're talking about as well. Well done to you, Barry. Well done to every single person that's put their hands in the pockets. And it's immeasurable what the difference this is going to make to people, just to take the foot off the neck for Christmas. Because that's how it can feel like when you've got nothing or when resources are very low. Thanks so much for joining us. The GoFundMe is go to the Portnew Market Garden page. Is that the... All right.
The link is in the bio. Yeah.
All right. Listen, well done. Thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate your time this morning. So if you are in the Glenties, Ardra, Portnew catchment area, do not suffer alone. Your community has come together to give you a hand that you can extend when you get onto your feet. 087 385 1426. That is the number for the Downstrands Resource Centre covering that catchment area, and they're going to be able to help out an awful lot of people. It's at 29,000 now. Hopefully it goes up even more so.
Think outside the box with your photos this Christmas for canvas prints, Instablocks, mugs and photo books at mcgees.ie. McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny. Sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
The McElhenney's communion rooms are now open for 2026 bookings. Our diary is filling up fast, so book early to explore our gorgeous selection of communion dresses and accessories. Call 07491311217 today to secure your appointment with our expert team and find the perfect dress for your little princess at McElhenney's.
Christmas is in the air and Cadbury Secret Santa is back. If you would like to send a free chocolate bar to someone special, then look out for the special Cadbury Secret Santa posters in and around Donegal. Or search for Cadbury Secret Santa to find out more. 18 plus. Free service on selected products while stocks last until December 21st. For full terms and conditions, visit www.cadbury.ie.
PTSB has Ireland's lowest rate for personal loans, from 25 to 75,000 euro. So from new wheels to home renovations, we're here for your next highlight. Apply today at ptsb.ie. PTSB, altogether more human. Lowest rate source ccpc.ie, 18 September 2025, excluding green loans. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply, subject to affordability assessment. Security may be required. Over 18s only. Warning, if you do not meet the repayments on your loan, your account will go into arrears. This may affect your credit rating, which may limit your ability to access credit, a hire purchase agreement, a consumer hire agreement, or a BNPL agreement in the future. Permanent TSB PLC trading as PTSB is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
What does it take to be Ireland's best-selling car brand? At Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles, we offer a world of choice. With our hybrid range, plug-in hybrids and fully electric cars, you can be as electric as you want to be. There's trade-in boosters of up to €2,500 and great monthly rates. So talk to Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles today. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply. Best-selling claim based on latest figures.
O'Reilly's Sports Store is now open at Unit 4, Northern Point Business Centre, Shesh O'Neill Ballybuffet. Drop in today and get your last-minute Christmas gifts. Discover exciting brands like Ballet, Precision, Club Shops and loads more. Perfect gifts for every sports fan. Now open Sundays. Visit O'Reilly's Sports Ballybuffet.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
It's 19 minutes past 11 and we have our latest addition to the Superstar lineup here in County Donegal. It's Amy Rose Carey. Hi, Amy Rose.
Hi.
How are you getting on?
Good.
You might have seen Amy Rose. She's from Fawn, of course, and performed on the Late Late Toy Show. 13 years old and already national TV. Not too bad. What was it like?
Oh, it was class. It was like really, really, really good.
How did it come about? Talk to me about it.
So basically, my mommy said that the toy show were taking applications, so she sent in 2, I think. And then we got a call about 2 weeks later saying that we can go in for auditions. So we did the auditions in the RTE studio and waited until maybe, I think it was the end of October. They gave us another phone call and they told me that I was going to be on the show.
Which is fantastic. Now, you've done stuff before, right? You were in the Junior Eurovision, so you kind of have a sense of what goes on behind the scenes and what to expect. But this is on a different scale. Or did you take it all in your stride and was cool as a cucumber, as they say?
No, I didn't. I wasn't that nervous or anything. So.
Well, that's good. That means you can fully enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? So what was the... did you do it live on the night?
Yeah, it was live.
All right, and what time were you on at? Because I watched it on repeat.
I was on... I think it was 10:30.
So I'm like, if it were me, I'm there since 8 or 7:30 or something like, and I'm going like, I need to get this over and done with here. But you're just vibing it. You're just waiting for your moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was an amazing experience actually performing. Did you really enjoy the performance side of it as well?
Oh, it was so good. I loved it.
And did you have headphones or monitors or?
No, all we had was a mic around like our ears to hear us singing.
Yeah.
But there was no headphones or anything.
Yeah, okay, cool. Right, we had a great Donegal representation up there because Ollie from Lahey Ollie Glendinning was up there, and Anne Boyce too from Downings. She was Anna Boyce. She spoke Irish, I believe, which was I saw the clip of her, and it was absolutely amazing. So where does this rank then? Because you've done an awful lot. As I say, you got to the final dozen on TG Cahir in the Eurovision. I presume you must perform in your school.
Well, actually, we just finished Annie the musical.
Yeah.
Last month. I was star to be in it.
Okay. Where did you get your talent from? Now remember, there's someone looking in the window at you, even though you're not looking at her.
Well.
This should be easy. So in other words, you're the first generation. Everyone before you's talentless, and you've just started it, yeah?
Basically, well, my granny sings.
Okay, well, we'll give Granny the credit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic stuff. And were you always a little performer? As a toddler, were you dancing around the place and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've always been doing shows since primary school.
Brilliant. And do you have ambitions in the arts, or just taking the opportunities that come?
Just taking the opportunities.
Yeah. 13, so what class are you in secondary school then?
Second year.
Right, okay, so you've a bit of time. Right, are you going to sing for us?
Yeah.
What is it?
Killer.
Okay. Right, so I'm going to play this. You can indicate up or down in terms of volume and stuff, right? But here we go. This is Amy Rose Carey singing live for us.
Where the boys never knelt, they go raring and tearing and fighting for love, for the land they call Killa, and the Lord up above. Killa, la 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 la, for the green and the white I adore, for the fire is to last evermore. 95 came promotion, high up on the wing, no one up to senior. What a beautiful thing in the darkest of hours, in the depths of despair. Let the Killa boys roar, fire to rattle the air. They go raring and tearing and fighting for love, for the land they call Killa, and the Lord up above. Killa, la 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 la, for the green and the white I adore, for the fire is to last evermore. Killa, la 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 la, Killa, la 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 la, for the green and the white I adore, for the fire is to last evermore. When my time's at an ending, when my days are no more, bury me with my Hurley by the river Desore.
Well done. I'm the only one here because you chased your mother out to give you a clap. Well done, Amy. That was fantastic. Amy Rose, it's a double barrel, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, Amy Rose. I didn't mention a very important person from Drumkeen that was up at the Late Toy Show as well, and that was TJ McDade. So we were so lucky to have such broad representation. If you can continue in music and you start to do it professionally, Amy Rose, I don't think you'd work well in the band. I think you're more of a solo artist. What do you think?
I don't really know.
I just think you'd want full artistic control, no? Maybe not. Okay. Listen, thanks so much for calling down to us, taking out school. So you living in Inshone at the moment? Or
Yeah.
So you're originally from Fawn, but up in Inshone?
No, I'm from Fawn, but we just like moved to a different part of Fawn.
Okay.
So.
Right, of course. Okay, I've mixed my places up. I get you. Listen, thanks so much for calling down. Really appreciate it. Do you want to say hello to anyone?
My Granny Tishy.
Is this the one with the talent? Or the other granny? I mean, the singing. I'm not trying to get you into trouble, but you're not helping me here. All right, brilliant stuff. Amy Rose, thanks so much for calling down. Really appreciate it. Well done. We look forward to seeing where things go for you, because you've a real interest in it, because you're studying music too, aren't you, in Derry?
Yeah.
Are you doing that alongside your schooling in the Republic?
Yeah.
Okay, well done. All right, the world's your oyster. I think you're going to be able to do whatever you want. Thank you so very much for joining us, and hopefully this is up there. This experience been up there with the Late Late Toy Show. All right, thanks so much indeed. We'll be back with more after a quick break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Hugo Boss, Tom Ford, Dior, Marc Jacobs, and Carolina Herrera. Find all the biggest names in perfume and aftershave this Christmas at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny, sponsors of today's 9 till noon show.
Employers, pay employee benefits up to €1,500 tax-free instantly with Clever Cards. Order Clever Cards digital MasterCards online and send to your employees immediately. No late delivery or managing distribution of physical cards. Order online from clevercards.com. Clever Cards MasterCards are issued by Monavate pursuant to license from MasterCard International and certified by Apple Pay and Google Pay. Clever Cards is an appointed distributor of Monavate, an e-money institution authorised and regulated by the Bank of Lithuania, and the business is regulated for conduct of business purposes by the Central Bank of Ireland. E-money accessed with Clever Cards MasterCards are safeguarded and protected under EU e-money regulations. Terms and conditions apply.
It's not just that his world has been torn apart. It's not just that he is hungry and alone. And it's not just that he is only 7 years old. Right now, children like Sammy are being forced to live through unimaginable horrors around the world. And it's not just. This Christmas, your support can make all the difference to children caught in conflict. Visit trocra.org or call 1-800-408-408. Trocra. Together for a just world.
Is fúine atá sé leictreachas a úsáid bhealach níos cliste agus níos glise. Ag Electric Ireland, táimeann seach an tróir a thuirteart. Le faisnéis fleanan na méidir cliste, tálaí EV agus panéal ghréine in our net zero hub nua. Déan d'úsáid níos soléire, turais níos glise, baile níos teolaí agus saol níos giile. Tuilleadh eolais ag electricireland.ie.
This Christmas, wear the magic of the Donegal crest. Try the new Donegal Hydra range. Tees, polos and fleece tops. Perfect gifts for every Donegal supporter this festive season. Brian McCormick Sports. In-store or online at bmcsports.ie. Kitting out Donegal since 1995.
At Super Value with real rewards, get Oyster Bay New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc wine case only €50. And Corona Extra 18 beer bottle box only $21.09. Also get half price on fresh Irish pork loin roast. Check your Real Rewards app for vouchers and make it a Christmas with a difference at Super Value. Please drink responsibly.
This Christmas, Letterkenny has more shopping choice than ever. From stocking fillers to the perfect gift, there's something for everyone on your list. Shop smart, shop local this Christmas in Letterkenny. Brought to you by Shop LK.
Christmas just got even bigger at Highland Radio. Not only could you win a brand new Renault Symbios Techno worth over €35,000, but from December 8th to 19th, we're giving away a grand a day. If you've already bought your ticket, you're automatically in. If you haven't, now's the time to get your tickets at highlandradio.com.
Right, now, of course, because of Breezy Bram, although we didn't know that at the time, we were going by what Mataran were telling us, we had to defer Highland Radio's big Christmas concert in the Mount Errigal from last night to tonight, and it is a fantastic lineup. Hugo Duncan's going to be there, Derek Ryan's going to be there, David James, Keith and Lorraine, Jerry Guthrie, and a guest who I'm about to introduce to you. But just to let you know, that thankfully the overwhelming majority of you are able to come tonight that were due to be there last night, and there are still a short number of tickets available for you. The price at €30 each, and will be available at the door. The doors open at 7. The show starts at 8 p.m. and amongst those performing tonight will be one of the biggest names in the scene in this country and beyond, Michael English. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Greg. Great to talk to you.
How are you getting on? Great to see you.
I'm very, very good. Yeah, we survived last night. It was a bit breezy down here as well, but it's very calm today, so not too bad.
But it's worked kind of very much in everyone's favour, especially your fans, because you're able to make the concert tonight, which is fantastic that you had a night free so close to Christmas.
Yeah, I am. I'm delighted to be there. All of my friends will be there in the business. I'm looking forward to meeting them, looking forward to meeting all of the people. I'm going to be on, just if I can say, I'm going to be on early because I am in Harvey's Point tonight as well. So that's a bit later on, just in case there are people going there. I don't want them to think that I won't be there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's always a fantastic night. It really is, always. And as I said, it gives us a chance to meet everybody around this time of year. You know, Christmas is my favourite time of year, and I love the Highland Radio concerts. They're always fantastic.
You're obviously giving it your all on stage, but just running high fives when you finished. Is that it?
well, we're all together in the back waiting to go on as well. So
yeah,
we have a great old chat.
I myself and the better half were down in Harvey's a couple of weeks ago and saw you there for their sort of summer cabaret. It's the Christmas cabaret you're doing for them tonight, I presume, which is always a great night. We were supposed to go, ironically, we were supposed to be there tonight, but had to defer it to next week for one reason or another. What's it like this time of year performing? Because you get to sort of, you've got the songs that people love to hear from you. Do you throw a bit of Christmas into the performance, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I love this time of year for various reasons. And music is one of those, of course. I love everything about the Christmas music. So yeah, we do all of the songs that people will know us for. Of course, we do lots of, in the dances, lots of party Christmas songs. And then I obviously play in theatres as well, and I play in churches now as well. So a lot of churches this time of year, they're a really special night as well, getting to sing all of the Christmas carols and that kind of thing. So yeah, a varied mix.
It's an obvious question. Is it a bit of a myth in terms of the church acoustics, or do they really add to a performance, Michael?
They do. I mean, the church in every way adds to the performance. First of all, it's a great privilege for us to perform on any altar in the sanctuary, in the church. And our show in the church is completely different. I mean, we don't do one song from the dances, obviously, in the church concerts. It's a completely different setup. But the acoustics, yeah, they certainly do. The nice soft acoustics, nice soft music. And then the candles and the general atmosphere creates a very special night, not just for us, for the local people as well, because we perform in about 25 churches now leading up to Christmas, and various different parishes and towns, and it's a great night for the community as well. So yeah, it's something we look forward to every year.
And professionally, you get to change gears a bit as well. I know you love touring and doing your stuff, but it must be nice to sort of be able to switch it up a little bit and get into that different type of a space and a different sort of interaction with your audience.
It does, and I'm very lucky, like everybody else in the business, that people come to see us very regularly and travel a lot and come night after night. So it's good for them as well that we have different shows. And, the church show, as I said, is completely different from the dance show. So it's a variety for them. And then for us as well, as singers and musicians, it's great to have the variety and not be doing the same every night,
Yeah, for sure. Right, tonight is a fantastic lineup. All these guys intimately. It's a big but also sort of small professional community, and it is a fantastic lineup for the show tonight, Michael.
It is, and as I said at the start, I love these type of nights because we can all meet up, and especially this time of year. And Highland Radio, in fairness, they always have a huge lineup. They pull out all the stops for their Christmas concert, and I'm delighted to be part of it. Really am. I'm looking forward to it now.
All right, safe journey up, Michael.
Thank you, Greg.
Not a bad dull Wednesday night. 2 gigs in the one night, huh?
and both in the greatest county of them all. So
that's it, right? That's it. Listen, thanks very much. As I say, safe journey up. We always love seeing you up here. You're a regular visitor, and thank you so much for being part of our special show tonight. Look after yourself.
Thank you. See you
Bye-bye.
later.
Take care. Bye-bye. That is Michael English there. He's just one of the fabulous artists that are on the Highland Radio Christmas concert tonight. Also on the bill, Hugo Duncan, David James, Derek Ryan, Keith and Lorraine, Jerry Guthrie. There are your tickets, obviously, for last night are valid for tonight. I presume at this point, if you had an overnight package with the hotel, you've given them a ring just to double check everything's in order, which it will be, but just to make sure that everything is in order, but I'm sure it is. And also, too, there are some walk-up tickets available. Doors open at 7. The show starts at 8 p.m. And Michael English is going to be one of the first acts up. So don't be late. You're never late anyway. It's one of those shows that people are there earlier rather than late. Show starts at 8 p.m. Right, let's get to some of your comments as we await our next guest joining us. Amy was absolutely fantastic. I met her in the Clanry on Sunday and what a lovely wee girl. She really is. And do you know what's really nice about her? There is a confidence, but no arrogance. The absolute perfect balance for a young person, I think, that she's confident in her skills and her abilities and what have you, but is in no way ahead of herself either, which I think is lovely. Caroline, can you just double check this number, one of you, please? I'm just not 100% sure on it there. Homelessness. There is so much homelessness and poverty in Ireland, yet the Irish government can give away 100 million to a corrupt regime in Ukraine, as they say. It was 125 million. But look, as I've said before, we took in 10 billion in a month in corporation tax. The 100 million is literally small change in the whole context. Helping out Ukrainian people, which I'm sure you don't believe is the right thing to do because you described them as corrupt, the regime that is. You might not agree that's the right thing to do, but you must agree that there could be space in that 10 billion euro of corporation tax taken in November to help people have homes. I think we can possibly agree on that, can we? Greg, a massive thank you for the compliment you gave to Buncrana Town yesterday. I felt great pride when you mentioned how well the town looked, and special thanks to the Tidy Towns Committee who make it possible. And it was meant, it was completely off the cuff and meant in absolute earnest. We were up in, just to recap, we were up in doing a programme in Dunfanaghy, wasn't it? And on the way back, the sat-nav said, right, go round Buncrana, and I insisted to Caroline and Shannon, I says, no, we're going through it. And I was, as I say, I'm not unfamiliar with Buncrana, but I was just astonished that from the top of the town to the bottom of the town, I'm not sure if locals describe it as that, just vibrance, colour, great mixture of different types of shops, food businesses, pubs. Door to door, it seemed to be all open, very little dereliction. I didn't spot any. An action from the top of the town to the bottom, coupled with the Christmas lights. Wonderful, and a real jewel in the crown. It's really important sometimes, even if you're familiar with a place, it's really important sometimes to actually go there, because then you get the true sense of what it's like. That's no good that it's not coming up in the program, so maybe they don't have that program. Right, okay, moving on here now, and on the issue of cancer and the cancer survival rates through lockdown. Are there figures for the numbers presented with cancer within a few months of getting the COVID vaccine? As I know several people this happened to who were fit as fiddles before getting the vaccine, or is this a coincidence? I can't judge it, but look, people get conditions, people have strokes, people have cancer, people have aneurysms all of the time, very, very sadly. If you had a COVID vaccine beforehand or if you didn't, we're always trying to make some sort of a correlation to try and make things make sense. There hasn't been a peak as of yet. So just check here. Look over my shoulder, Caroline, and see, am I going mad or something there? Because that number is not working. Christmas with your in-laws. This is the woke world we're living in, says a listener. The parents are a burden. These are the children's grandparents. They might criticise their grandmother, but it comes from a good place. What's happening in this woke world that parents who brought you into this world are a burden? So many people would give anything to have their parents with them this Christmas. I know, and I would as well. right? But I have to separate the fact that I've lost my parents and would love them back versus when I had them and if they tried to stay with me for 3 weeks. I can make that separation. The emotions are different once you've passed them and you give anything for a moment with them. But when you have them, 3 weeks is too long at Christmas. Dolores says, "Hi, Greg, that woman's husband needs to grow a set. Tell his parents what his wife is about or on about, and 2 days are more than enough stay." Indeed. Okay. Thank you for that. There's a small black and brown dog wandering near Dromahal. It looks lost and afraid. So if you're missing a small black and brown dog in or around the Dromahal area, I don't know if we've a contact. We're just sort of letting you know it's there at the moment. Right, now we can go to Mark McCullum, who is a sea swimmer and joins me on the show now. Good morning, Mark. How are you getting on?
Good morning, Greg. Lovely to be here. Yes, and I'm hoping everyone survived the storm yesterday. Yeah, and
we
as you
did,
say,
yeah.
I'm a sea swimmer.
Now, we should be grateful, of course, that we escaped the worst of it. That being said, we weren't out at sea. There was an orange weather warning. There was a red marine warning. I presume you wouldn't have risked going into the sea, would you?
I absolutely not, Greg. I love this. I love sea swimming. It's been a huge part of my life. I've been doing it for over 30 years. And I'm in and out of the water all seasons, all through the winter, all through the summer. But loving the sea means respecting it. And in the storm conditions, especially like what we had predicted yesterday with the orange and red warning in place, that respect basically means staying out. The sea you swim in a calm morning in Rathmullen or in Dunfanaghy or wherever is very different to the same place when you're facing during a storm. It becomes unpredictable, unstable, and just downright dangerous.
But you're saying, that some people ignored that?
Yeah, I saw some footage online. I saw some people actually from, not from Donegal. I don't think it was Donegal, but I saw some footage of people actually going in yesterday. And it's just, your heart sinks when I say that, because in those moments, going in isn't brave or resilient. It's just an unnecessary risk. You're putting yourself and others at danger,
Yeah.
No matter how good a swimmer you think you are, one of the common lines that I hear, is that, it's people who, train hard, and especially for extreme swimmers and adventure athletes. And look, I respect people who train hard and push their limits. Back in my day, I used to do that too, but the truth is, training for challenging conditions is not the same as choosing to swim in unsafe conditions.
And as well as that too, I mean, obviously, if you were looking out at sea, if I was looking out at sea and saw anyone in the sea, I'd think they're on a red warning. I'd think they're crazy. But what could also happen is they could get into trouble, or someone could accidentally think they were in trouble, because who in God's name would do it? Next thing you know, our volunteer fourth emergency service have to launch and take a vessel out in terrible, dangerous water. You're putting their resources and their lives at risk, Mark.
That's the other piece of the puzzle that people have to forget. If you judge it, if people go in and these think it's just, for whatever buzz or for whatever what they want, whatever their clicks and likes on social media, it's the rescue teams, as you say, that have to go in after them. And these are volunteers with families who have to head out into these massive swells and freezing sprays and debris because somebody felt that they could take on a storm. And that's just simply not fair on them, and it's not part of any training or anybody's personal development journey for likes or follows. It's not worth it. No matter how elite you think you are, lifeguards, surf swimmers, professionals, they all have boundaries. They don't chuck themselves, hurl themselves into the storm waters. When they train, they have spotters and safety craft and radios, and it's controlled scenarios, and there's planning for backup. So when someone heads off alone into a storm like they did yesterday, even if they're the most fit and experienced, three things happen, in my opinion. They assume experience equals invincibility. It simply doesn't. No swimmer can outpower a rip current or control where the storm surge is going to throw them. And as you say, they remove the safety net. There's no support team. There's no exit strategy if something suddenly shifts and goes wrong, which it can happen really quickly. And crucially, as you said there yourself, Greg, if something goes wrong, it's the Coast Guard and the RNLI who have to go in and put themselves in harm's way and the same dangerous conditions to get them out.
See, even in calm conditions, right? So if you have a boat, right, most people would have a take-me-home engine because you don't know the engine could go kaput on you, right?
Things can go wrong,
Exactly. This isn't factoring in pulling a hammy or something or dislocating a shoulder, or like no matter how confident you are at swimming, there are variables that could happen and do happen whereby you actually couldn't get back to shore if you wanted to, like a dislocated shoulder or something.
Absolutely. Things, these arguments of experience or athleticism cancels out danger. Simply, they don't hold. Like, nature of the storm doesn't care how strong you say your shoulders are, or how weak they are, or how good a swimmer you are or not. And it's the people, and I'm not discouraging people from swimming. I really would be an advocate for the power of swimming, and I swim every Saturday, and we go in all year round, but we do it as a group and we do it safely. And it's wonderful for mental health, toughness, and resilience. But if your real mental health resilience also includes good judgment, and if your measure of toughness is walking into a storm because it looks dramatic on social media, or you feel it's like a test, you're not building a resilience. You're just rolling a dice.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to challenge yourself, go into the cold water on a safe day. Like, we go in every Saturday at 2:00. We meet up. It's a social thing. We look at the conditions and we make a plan. I'm part of the Garton Open Water Swimmers, and we have the Rathmullen Casual Dippers, and there's groups all over, Donegal, who are doing it, but they do it safely.
Yeah.
You can build up your endurance and your condition where you can push your limits without crossing into outright danger, like we see with people yesterday.
But also, too, it's like people that speed, Mark. You're not rolling the dice for yourself. You're actually rolling the dice for other people, and that we've touched on that because of the emergency services, etc. But it's not not like, oh, it's just me, I can do whatever I want, it's my risk. No, because your risk could have implications for other people, so then it becomes a shared risk.
It's absolutely. It's, again, going back to it's the volunteers. The RNLI do tremendous work, and the Coast Guard, and they're the people that are going to have to go in, as I say, put themselves in harm's way to try and. Just because someone felt that the urge that they felt that they could take on a storm, or this would look good on their social media,
All right, Mark.
Admire the storm from the shore. Feel the power.
I'm going to admire the storm from my couch. But I take your broader point.
That's okay.
All right, Mark. Listen, God bless you. I think you're mad,
no bother,
by
Greg,
the way.
It's always a pleasure.
I think you're mad.
Okay.
I think you can socialise and meet friends in different places other than the freezing cold sea.
But I would seriously encourage you to try it, though, Greg.
Do you know what?
Try it,
tongue in cheek, right? I'm actually really envious. Because I think it would be great, and I think I might come to a period in my life where we might, I might give it a go. So, jokes aside, I can see me part of that crew at some point down the line, because it sounds just like.
Well, you're more than. It is the most. It's counterintuitive, but it's the most relaxing thing. We did. The Garton Open Water Swimmers done 8 swims on one day.